Welcome to DAX Machina. Join us as we explore the mysteries of this world. Cryptids, monsters, macabre tales, and horror stories abound. Could they be true? Are monsters real?
Good evening, folks, and thank you for joining us for another edition of DAX Machina. Went to the Dogman convention over the weekend, and I feel a little different since I've gotten back. I don't know, the hat's still the same, glasses are the same. I feel fine.
Yeah.
Do I look any different to you guys?
No.
Not really. Huh?
No.
Glasses don't fit right.
No.
How's everybody doing tonight?
Did you shave today?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the beard's coming in a little thicker.
Yeah,
I
it kind
guess-
of looks
I
like it
guess
might be a little thicker.
Yes.
When are you going to the dentist? It looks like you got some problems there.
Well, you know, the steak was a little raw.
Yeah,
Says you look handsomer. Well, thank you, sir.
I see that. Jess says you look a little hairy there. Yeah. Oh, God.
I'm just gonna let everybody know I got these two new masks from Zygone Studios. I got this one, and I got a white one that's called the Dire Wolf, and it's pretty freaking awesome too.
I like that one.
Yeah, that one's nice, too. You got to see when he opens his mouth with that one, Robbie. It moves.
I've
Even
got
the
one
other
like that. It's not white like that, but it's the when I sent you the picture of it. Well, I sent it in the group.
I seen it.
Yeah, because I really like this mask. Anyway, I will take it off. I wanted to pop in and show it off. So, guys, talk a minute. Let me pry this off my skull.
Talk amongst yourselves.
Talk amongst yourselves.
Talks amongst yourselves. So, yeah, everybody's in chat. Who's in here? Northwoods. Hey, Meg. Let me see. Who else? Give a
Saw
shout
Werewolf
out.
say something. He's in here.
Yeah.
Stab myself in the eye with the arm glasses. It's like,
Cowboy, he's here. West Coast Dogman Project. Hey, Bob, what's up,
Yep.
brother?
Yeah.
Naoma, yeah. How you doing, honey? Who
Facebook
else?
users, dude, that's badass. You've got to go to StreamYard.com/Facebook so you can authorize Facebook to use your name because we won't see your name
Yeah.
otherwise.
Juanita, hey, honey. She's on. Dave's here. What's up, Dave? Werewolf.
David says, "Da, you blinded me for a second. The glare off my noggin."
Oh,
But I wanted to talk about the conference a little bit before we get started on everything else tonight. We had a fantastic time at the conference tonight. It was over the weekend. I mean, the Dogman conference was just a massive success. There were tons of people there. I've got a bunch of pictures to share, and I wanted to kind of give some shout outs and thank everybody. First person I want to thank is Josh and Nellie Turner for putting the event on. And of course, Ken Gerhardt was the host. But it was so freaking awesome. We met a ton of awesome people. I got to tell you, Pink Dahlia, who's in the house tonight, when we were pulling into the parking lot of the hotel, I look up at her and Letitia Nunnally are like waving their arms frantically. And I looked at my wife and I go, "Who the hell are they waving at?" And she goes, "I think it's you." I'm like, "Why?" And then I got out. They come right up. Yay! It was really freaking cool to get that kind of reception. I felt like a celebrity for a few minutes. It was awesome.
Did you even know who she was? Because all she has is a pink dahlia on her picture.
I didn't at first.
Right. I mean, I wouldn't know who she was if somebody was waving at me.
Well, this was immediately after getting there. That's
There it is.
as my what I do. I drink and I know things shirt. That's Letitia Nunnally, Barton Nunnally, and then Jenny right there in the middle, Pink Dahlia. Just an awesome time. We met some fantastic people. Here is me and Josh Nonocchio from What Lurks Beneath and Bettina Moss from Crypto Normal with B Moss. Awesome people. A great time. There's me and Naoma Finn and Nick in my obnoxious Bigfoot shirt. I've got a couple of them. You'll notice that one I'm wearing there is a little different from the one I'm wearing here. So I've got two of them, but I just ordered more, so they should be here soon.
Did Cam make it up there or no?
No, Cam was on a fishing trip in Louisiana. That's Derek Buckles to my left there. He's in the chat right now. Awesome guy. I got to meet him. He came by and got some books, and we got to talk quite a bit. There's me and the man himself,
Yeah.
Josh Turner. There's me and Josh and Barton Nunnally.
Oh, cool.
Of course, this was taken during my presentation. Then a bunch of us went to this little pizza place called Ace's Pizza and kind of took over. There's me right there to the right, and then Josh Nonocchio at the far end, Barton Nunnally at the very end on the right. Just an amazing group of people. I mean, we were having a hoot and a half down there. This was some of the people we met there. Honestly, I can only name part of them. I can't remember everybody's name. That's Joe on the right, and that's I can't name everybody. I am so sorry. I am terrible with names. But this is a bunch of us clowning. My son sitting in my lap. Another angle from the pizza dinner. You can see me down at the far left. But we just had a freaking wonderful time. It was amazing getting to see everybody and getting to hang out. And the VIP was on Friday night, and then the actual event was Saturday. We got there, and Josh is like, "You want to go ahead and set your books up?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'll pull the car down here." So during the VIP thing, when nobody was really even supposed to be vending yet, we were setting our table up and putting books out, and we had no sooner opened the boxes with the books when people were swarming the table to buy books. We sold books like hotcakes all weekend. It was just freaking awesome.
Cool. That's good. Good.
Yeah, I missed a bunch of comments. Did I miss anything good? And they always said in the photo, yeah.
Oh, here she is. Facebook user. Yeah, you got to subscribe, man, because we can't see who's saying it.
Yeah, unfortunately, the Facebook won't let us do that. I think that's Luis Noriega. He says they're going to be in conventions over here in Anaheim, California.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. I can look. My wife's got a freaking spreadsheet a mile long of conventions all over the place. I'll see if there's going to be any in your area. See what I can send your direction. But there are conventions all over the place all the time.
Oh, Hooter's in. Hey, Hooter, man. Thank you.
Hey, Hooter. And there's Mondog. Mondog's here. Frank Action.
Yep. Everybody's here. Everybody's in the show. Who else is here? Pat. Hey, Pat. Robert, he's in. He says, sorry, couldn't be there.
Hey, you missed out, bud. They're going to do it. We're definitely going to be doing it again. And, of course, I've got another show that I'm going to be doing on the 22nd through the 24th of next month. That's going to be in Lexington, Missouri. Let me see if I've got the picture up. I thought I had it. Yeah, here it is. This is it's going to be called Fall into the Supernatural. It's September 22nd, 23rd, and 24th. It's going to be at the Big River Ranch in Lexington, Missouri. Tickets are available. Just go to eventbrite.com and put in Fall into the Supernatural, and it'll take you right to it. It's going to be a great event. There's going to be a lot of fun. There's going to be like a fireside Bigfoot event that I'm hosting on Friday night. There's actually going to be a live paranormal hunt at a haunted museum. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Dave's
so hopefully
going
in that.
So
how you guys doing?
Good. I'm good.
Doc just texted me, said he won't be making it tonight, which is a bummer, but I understand. Yeah, David By says September we'll have a Bigfoot hunt Friday night and the convention Saturday. There's camping in bunkhouses.
Cool.
And several hotels very close by, too.
Yeah. What else? DA. Hi, DA. Like to meet. Yeah, you guys can't see who it is, man. Sorry.
Yeah, if you're watching this on Facebook, either pop over to the YouTube channel and watch it there so we can see who you are, or go to Facebook. I'm sorry. StreamYard.com/Facebook, and you can authorize it to use your name. Otherwise, it won't show it. Miriam Nunn says it's hard to type. My Doberman is on my lap. She keeps sticking her head on the keyboard.
Join the crowd. I had a lot of
Charles' story was on Buckeye Bigfoot. Awesome. I like Buckeye Bigfoot. She does a really good job. I like Nancy's channel. She's really nice.
Everybody's. So what happened at the convention? Because I couldn't go. I couldn't make it. So.
Oh, dude, there were so many speakers. Lots of people there. I got several actually, I took 2 of my own and then got another one at the event itself. A book signed by Barton Nunnally. Just an overall just super guy. I mean, one of the coolest guys I've had a chance to hang out and talk with. Got to hang around with Josh Turner, talked to Ken Gerhardt, Lyle Blackburn. Nick Valente was there. He drove all the way in from New Jersey, and it was like a 16-hour drive or something like that. There were people that came from Alaska to go to the show.
What?
Yeah, they said they were going to cap it at 300 because of the size of the venue, but I think they ended up selling like 370 something. We oversold the venue. No issues. Nobody was being problematic. We had great attendance. The only thing was, and I talked to Josh about this, is hopefully next year we can have the vendors in a separate room from the speakers, because the vendors got a little noisy when we'd be trying to talk to people about books, and then some of the people couldn't hear the speakers. We weren't intentionally being loud. It's just you can't do sign language and sell books to people.
No. Nope. But everybody, we haven't got a lot of people in chat tonight.
Nope.
Yeah, well, got quite a few people already in here.
Oh,
hey, Jessica.
Jessica, there she is. There's our sister.
Creepers, Cryptid, and Paranormal says, do one in Australia, DA. I would love to, as would my wife. The problem was getting her to come back.
She says, hey, guys, I hate it. I missed the comp. Yeah, that's all right. I missed it, too.
Yes,
Nicholas Shaughnessy says, any conferences in Texas? Yeah, there are Bigfoot and cryptid conferences all over the United States. If you just Google Bigfoot Conference Texas, I guarantee you'll find 20 of them.
Yeah.
Martindale Dundee, what Tanya Wallace says. Yeah, Barton was all decked out. Such a cool guy. I mean, guys, you really missed out. I really would love to have had you guys there, because I would like to get all the guys from DAX Machina at a convention together.
That'd be awesome.
I would love to be able to set that up. Daniel Stanford says, enjoying Apex Predator Dark Moon immensely. DA, no spoilers. There we go. I'm glad you're enjoying it. Thank you. I'm glad you picked it up.
Yeah.
Trying to catch up.
Now, hold on. Let's see. What'd she put? I fell that down.
Martin Groves. I don't know if he's in the chat tonight, but Martin Groves got up and talked about his experience with Dogman, and it's one of the more powerful stories I've heard in a while. I mean, it was a really fantastic story.
Really? Where did it take
I want to
place?
get him on the show and have him tell the story. It's really good. It happened in LBL.
Oh, okay. Well, to tell everybody, I got what's his name coming on the show. Well, we had, what is it, next week we got him coming on?
Mm-hmm.
What? Yeah.
Wouldn't tell him about it.
My buddy Scott from Florida here, the one that's having the problems with those Bigfoot messing his house up and bothering him and his wife. He's coming on the show. I spoke to him the other day. I texted DA about it. So he will be on with him and his wife. So we'll have that next week.
Josh Dalton says the easy way to get the wife out of Australia is mention the snakes and spiders. He's probably not wrong. That would probably get the trick done.
Yeah.
Pork and Mean says he was a cop that went hunting in LBL, went turkey hunting in LBL. Yeah, it's a great story. I don't want to give away anything about it, because I want Martin to come on and tell that story firsthand. But just suffice it to say, as Dogman encounters go, not only is it a chilling encounter, but it's a damn good one.
Did you get him lined up to come on?
I haven't had a chance to talk to him about it yet. I want to talk to him at the conference, but they had so much going on. I didn't get near as much time to mingle and take pictures as I wanted to. The guys from Sawdust Beast showed up for a little while. They were there.
Oh, cool.
Larry Porch and Mark Newell, they were there. I wanted to get pictures with those guys, but by the time I was able to get away from the table for more than 2 or 3 minutes, they were already gone. But I did manage to get one with Naoma. There was a confirmed Naoma sighting. Yeah,
you got one picture.
Yeah, I got actually a couple, but I only uploaded one. Creepers, DA, you got to get Attila Caldy on his second Yari Dark. Oh, that would be awesome, dude. Can you make the introductions? I'd love to get him on.
Yeah, that'd be cool as hell.
AJ Congdon says, are you coming to any conferences in Florida? If the wife has anything to do with it, we're going to be moving to Florida.
Yep. Actually, by me, hopefully.
Yeah,
That'd
absolutely.
And then you'll be closer to Robbie. It'd only take us Hell, I mean, from me to Robbie's about,
Letitia.
where are you, South Carolina, Robbie?
Yeah, we're probably at the most 12 hours. If
I'm in Ocala, so yeah, it'll probably take me about 10. The way I drive, probably 10 hours. I'll be right there.
and we just gotta get Doc closer.
Yeah.
Definitely.
DA wouldn't bother DA, but, you know, if his wife was in the car, she'd be cursing me out, you know. Slow the hell down.
No, she's used to my driving.
No.
She might find yours refreshing.
Do you hear my dog whining?
Uh-uh.
Oh, he will. You'll hear him in the cage. He's pissed off because I put him in his kennel.
Well, yeah, I'll go ahead and throw the vote in for moving DA Ex Machina to Florida. That's 100% okay with me.
I told him it ain't like up there, man. The humidity down here, bro, is like.
Yeah, well, they're predicting a really bad winter for Missouri, and with my back, that's gonna suck.
Oh, I know, man. Believe me. I'm right there with you.
I think I know who that is. I think that's my buddy Ryan. He says, I'm ready to do some Bigfoot hunting in September. I'm going to try and talk Jared Turberville into going. Yeah, I think that's Ryan. Ryan, how you doing, buddy?
There you go.
You talking
we
to
got to
the dog?
go up by, we got to go up by Robbie. I mean, hell, Robbie's probably got some spots up there where you can go. So,
Yep. I got a few off the top of my head we could go to. Which, I forgot to tell you this, DA and Anthony. I got an email from a guy the other day from my channel over in Greenville County, somewhere around the Cleveland area. He had a site or an encounter. So I'm probably going Friday sometime to investigate.
Yeah.
Hey, Jessica, when is she coming into Florida? I just seen that.
He said if I move down there, she'll come visit us.
Oh, okay. Did you hear that? That's
I heard that.
I heard
He's pissed off.
I got me out of the cage, damn it.
Oh, let me let him out. I'll be right back. Hold on.
Okay.
These dogs. It's like having kids.
Oh yeah. It sounds like my Harley. He's a little Goomba. So you were telling me that you may be on hiatus for right now for your show.
Yeah, I hopefully not, but Lance had to step away for some personal reasons. I've got the next 3 or 4 episodes mapped out already. It's just kind of hard to do it by yourself, so I've got a few things in the works. Maybe we'll just got to see, but next few episodes are going to be pretty good. So hopefully I can work something out and still get them out there. So, actually, I've asked my uncle, who grew up more like an older brother than an uncle, because he's only a few years older than me. It's my dad's youngest brother. So he's only like 5-6 years older than me. And he's the one that I've had that kind of relationship with all life. We both believe, and he's never had an encounter, but he totally believes. So I sent him a message and said, it just kind of makes sense. We've kind of been practicing for this our whole lives anyway, with most of our conversations. So he's cross your fingers, say a prayer, whatever you need to do. He's got some stuff going on at work that he said if it works right, then he would have some more time and he may come on and be the new co-host. So,
cool.
Hopefully that'll work out. I mean, I hate it because Lance and I had such a good chemistry, I think. I mean, you said that yourself, DA. I mean, but it wasn't in the cards for him right now. And
I hear you.
No, and it happens.
I want to take a second real quick and say thank you to Tanya Willis. That is awesome. Thank you so much. And Willamette Valley Cryptids, I believe that's Awissa. She says, hey, DA, do you have the ability to take Bitcoin? Unfortunately not.
No.
I don't know much about Bitcoin.
But I was
telling Cryptid Paranormal says, DA, I finally got a thermal, so I'll be heading out to my Dogman encounter area. Awesome.
There you go. Yeah,
I'll be taking my thermal camera with me up to Lexington, Missouri for that event up there.
I was telling Robbie, him, because I wanted to do somewhat like a documentary here to get started, and then maybe come up by you, or when DA comes down to look at houses, but I got to get a better camera to do all that. I don't want it to look like garbage on a cell phone.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I've got to get a much better camera.
I got to get a better camera to do that, and we found them. It's just like DA said. It's right now the way everything is. Robbie, even everything's so tight right now in this country. It's just ridiculous. I don't have extra money. DA doesn't. It's nuts. But one day we'll get there.
Pink Dahlia sent me some more pictures. There's a picture she took of me and Neil.
There she is.
And there's me and her. And this is Larry Porch, Mark Newble, Naoma, and her husband, and Larry and Mark's wives.
There they are.
That was literally right outside the door. Yeah, I got to talk to Larry and Mark for a bit, but then they went over and listened to the speakers, and I didn't get to hang out with them nearly as much as I would like to have. Yes, I do have PayPal.
You can put that up.
No, I didn't. I've never once thought of doing that. Let me get my PayPal link. I know I've got it. Just give me a second.
Believe me, we don't ask for money. DA doesn't ask for money. Robbie's not asking, but anything that is sent, it's going towards equipment. That's where it
and
goes.
we do appreciate it.
Yes, that's awesome. Thank you.
That's actually whether y'all believe it or not, that's actually the conversation that we were having before.
Oh yeah, we just talked about that. We're not going to talk about what we talked about because no. But yeah, we're not like that.
No. And
believe me, I wish I had the money. I wish I hit the lottery. I mean, I would be giving out millions to people that needed it, to help them out, families and, for their kids and everything. And that's just me. That's the way I was raised. So can't take it with it when you die. So
absolutely.
Might as well spend it on people that really deserve it.
Absolutely. But I can't say enough good things about the convention. I mean, the guys that put that on is just absolutely fantastic. I mean, Josh Turner and his wife Nellie were amazing. So many people that were wonderful. Ken Gerhardt did a great job as host. We had some fantastic speakers. It was just an overall just an incredible experience, and I can't wait to do it again.
Yeah, I wish I could have made it, man. I'm sorry I didn't come. Because,
it happens. It's just one of those things. Not everybody could make it, but hopefully next year, if I can, I told Josh I'd like to be in on the planning next year, and hopefully we can do a bigger venue and sell more than 300 tickets because that's kind of where they capped it. Sorry, I got some fuzz in my throat from that mask. Sorry. But yeah, I can't wait to do it again next year. If you guys, any of you guys are going to be in Missouri in late September, come up to the Lexington conference, fall into the Supernatural. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Oh, what happened? Cowboy lost somebody in his family.
Oh, I didn't see that. I'm sorry, Cowboy.
Prayers, Warrior. Sorry, man.
Sorry, Cowboy.
He says, please for my younger brother Eric. His wife, my sister-in-law, passed away on Sunday.
Sorry, I hit that by accident.
No problem, man.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Cowboy.
Yeah, I want to prayers with you guys and your family.
Yes.
Sorry to hear about that, man. That is horrible. Meg is definitely correct.
All prayer warriors, let's pray. Yes, most definitely.
Trying to think if there's anything else I wanted to say about the show. I mean, I just can't say enough good about it. It was just a great time. In fact, I've got one of the T-shirts on Paranormal Roundtable. I can't stand up enough to make it seen on camera, but it's one of the shirts from the event. At the end of the event, Josh Turner was just handing out stuff off his table, just giving it away. Super nice guy. Wanted to make sure everybody that came got left with a souvenir. In fact, he gave me this souvenir from Texas. We used to catch these stupid things when I was a kid.
A little horny toad?
Yeah, a little horny toad. It's on my desk next to my Bigfoot figure. Richie Evans says, Robin, Kentucky, how far is that from West Liberty? I guess that's a question for him because I don't know. Pat Murphy says, I would like you all to come to Dayton, Ohio. I think there is one in Dayton, or at least in that area. Annette and I were talking about it just yesterday. So we're looking to expand out of our area and do some more of these shows. I was surprised at the number of books I was able to cram into my little Rogue. I'm going to take it up hopefully first of the month and have a receiver hitch put on it so we can haul a small trailer.
You're welcome, cowboy. No, really. That's something that I know. I dealt with it myself.
I totally understand, man. Oh, I do know of someone I didn't thank, and I doubt she's listening.
Cool.
I want to thank my wife. I don't think we could have pulled off the miracle we pulled off of the sheer number of books we took had it not been for her. She plans my conference. I'm just the guy that sits at the table and tries to look pretty and signs books. She does all the business end of it. I'm at a loss for that crap. I couldn't have pulled it off.
They say behind every good man there's a good woman helping.
You know, the expression is behind every successful man is an amazed mother-in-law.
Oh, that too. We won't get into the mother-in-law thing, but okay.
Shane says, "Yeah, I've got a old little horse trailer. If you need a book hauler, that would be awesome, dude.
That'll work.
Heck yeah! I just clean it out and seal it. And
is that Shane?
Yeah, it's Shane.
Shane, you're in California.
Shoot me a message. I'll drive out and get it.
Yeah.
I'll make a road trip of it. I'll go get it.
I can help you do all that interior work to it.
Heck yeah, that would be awesome.
Too. That would be nice.
We do need a trailer. My dream goal is to get a little square trailer, a little box trailer, and then have a wrap put on it with the DA logo and the DA Ex Machina logo. That way, when we pull up to an event, everybody's like, "Hey, that's who that is." Northwood says, "I never had any problems with my mother-in-law, but my ex is a different story." Of course,
she's going
not a show without Northwood's making
Northwood's saying something. I love him. He had us laughing a couple weeks ago with his comments.
Thank you, Lene. That is awesome. Naomi says, "Behind every good man's a better woman." She keeps me in line, even though it's a full-time job. She even succeeds sometimes.
She's right, though.
But the funny thing is I got so many comments about my obnoxious Bigfoot Hawaiian shirts. When I first got those, she's like, "I am not going to be seen in public with you wearing those." And now it's kind of the signature. So if I do a show,
talking about that, the Hawaiian shirts. I was told I can't wear mine either. So don't feel bad.
Well, I appreciate the comment, and we loved meeting you too. It was a lot of fun, especially when we went for pizza. That was a hoot and a half. Then hanging around afterwards, we stayed out after the show was done. The show, I think we shut down around 8, and then a bunch of us went for pizza, and then we were outside our hotel rooms till like 2 a.m. laughing and talking.
Yeah, if I was there with you guys, we would have had a ball. I know that.
Yeah, you missed out on a good time. We've got to make sure we've got a way to get both you guys there for next one.
I know.
DH says, "Do you know how many tickets they're selling for Lexington?" I don't think there's a limit. I don't think there's a complete limit. However, if you want, there are campsites and lodging available at the horse ranch, but you'll need to contact the horse ranch direct because lodging's not available through the Eventbrite. Let me bring the picture back up. There it is. Okay. It's going to be held at the Big River Ranch in Lexington, Missouri. If you contact the Big River Ranch directly, you can book campsites with power and water. They're primitive campsites where you can just pitch a tent. They've also got like log cabin style bunkhouses. So if you want, and also there's like half a dozen hotels within just a few miles of the ranch. So I think they're planning on a big attendance. And all of the thing to remember about this show, let me take that off there, is that this show is for charity. Let's see, this is gallery reading just according. This is going to benefit one of the charities there locally, and it's going to be a fantastic event. It's benefiting the Focus program, and it's going to be a fantastic event. I'm so excited to be there. we are really looking forward to meeting everybody. Hopefully, you guys can be there for that, because there's going to be a pretty good turnout, I believe. Oh, Richie Evans says, question to you, did you learn anything new about Dogman, and can you give us the 411? I heard some fantastic accounts. I wasn't allowed to videotape. My plan was to shoot video and do some of that, but they asked that no one videotape any of the speakers, because I think they're planning on releasing a DVD. But yeah, I got to hear some of the history behind Dogman. Elijah Henderson did a presentation on LBL, which was just fantastic. Nick and I talked about our experience in LBL. Then I also talked about what happened when we recorded that video down in the Joe Bald area.
Yeah.
So a lot of great information there. Really great. Megs has put my leather hat on. Okay, I'll swap
I
hats.
was about to say that.
Let me swap hats here. Fortunately, I keep the spare around for just such emergencies.
If somebody asks, why do I go off camera? Well, because I smoke, and I don't do it on camera. So I just want to let everybody know that. I'm still there. So.
Naomi says, oh, sorry, I slept in, didn't get to hear the morning speakers. Yeah, you missed me. I was on at 10:30 in the morning.
That's because she was partying all night. That's why.
Derek Buckle says, Elijah's presentation was very informative. We should have been a little earlier in the day. It was also Elijah Henderson's birthday. So, yeah, it was thanks, Meg. She likes the leather hat. I love this hat. I didn't want to wear it at the conference because I didn't want to be didn't want anybody to claim I was trying to copy Ken and Lyle, because they've got those little leather black hats that are all scrunched up on their head. Let's see. Willamette says, I know of 3 areas around Cottage Grove Lake where you can camp and hear the knocking wood howling all public sites. Oops. Naomi says, I'm thinking that's about the time I was crawling. But yeah, I don't want to go into too much. But there are some of the guys who I met there. One gentleman, I'll show the picture again. He is on the.
Excuse me.
Let me find the picture again. He's on the far left in the gray shirt. His name is Joe. I'm going to have him on the show soon to talk about his Dogman encounter, and it's freaking terrifying. He actually shot it.
Is that the guy in the gray shirt that you're talking about?
He shot one. Point blank range, basically.
That ain't the one that he had the camper. Is that the guy with the camper?
No. Okay. No, this is he was an over the road trucker.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
And his story, he said at the booth and told me his story, and it's pretty freaking hairy. And I don't want to give away the details on that, because I want him to come on the show and tell the whole story, because I would hit the highlights and not give you all the great details. I want to have him come on and tell it himself. Just a really cool guy. I want to get Martin Groves on to tell his story. I know there's going to be several of us that are going to be having those guys periodically over the next few weeks. But Meg Mill says, DA Cowboys loves your books. That's awesome. Thank you. Richie Evans says, what cal did he shoot it with? I think he said it was a 357. Shot it with a pistol, I believe. Now we'll get him on the show and let him tell the whole story, but his story's pretty freaking incredible. It's awesome. Neoma says, I'm going to call it a night, guys. Got a video to get out, have fun. Thanks, Neoma. Thank you for stopping by. You are awesome. Neoma. And it was good to get to hang out with you for a little bit. Josh Turner brought in a catering company from Texas to cater the event, and the barbecue was freaking amazing. Oh my God, it was so good.
Now I'm even sorrier that I missed it.
Oh yeah. Some of the best barbecue I've had in a while. Now, Rockin' Pig down in Eureka Springs, Arkansas, I still think is better, but it was damn good barbecue.
Oh, you were telling me about that place.
Naomi, it was good to see you. We've got to do it where we can spend more time together. So hopefully that'll happen in the not so distant future. Derek Buckle says the barbecue was good. Sausage was awesome. Everything I tried on them that they had on the thing, because I ate like lunch one day and dinner the previous night. So good. Yeah. Now Mary says the pulled pork was awesome. Yeah, the food was just fantastic. The whole event was just fantastic. I keep saying that, but it was just absolutely awesome. So if you guys didn't get a chance to go this year, plan on attending next year. And if I've got anything to do with the planning end of it, and I hope I do, hope Josh will include me on the planning portion of it, because I think it's going to be a much bigger event. I think he could have sold a lot more tickets than he did.
Let's see, using comments. So, okay.
Sorry, was trying to catch up on a couple of things real quick. So you guys want to start some encounters?
Let's do it.
All right. Robbie, I'll send you the first one and let you do it.
All right.
And
not the War and Peace version this time, right?
No, it's kind of long, but not as long as that lasted.
Oh, that one now with the arm.
Yeah, War and Peace with Dogman.
That was a good one.
It was a good one, but it was long.
Did he ever get his arm sewed back on, or what happened to the guy?
It never said. I think he's no. It did. It said. I think he said he got it back on, but it was basically like that. Once he grew up, the arm was still basically whatever age they were.
Oh, yeah, that's right. That's right. You did say that. That was my mistake. You're right.
All right, y'all ready?
Yep.
All right, this is from Canada. Canada, eh?
Hey, Canada.
Deadwood, Alberta 3. I guess that's a province in Alberta.
I guess so.
In this report, a husband and wife were out cross-country skiing. They had just crossed a remote country road and were about to ski across a field. On the other side of the field, they spotted an extremely large wolf standing just inside the tree line. The wife said she felt uncomfortable as the creature was staring right at them and following their movement. Her husband was carrying a .22 rifle on his back on a sling. So he brought the rifle down, chambered a cartridge, and fired in the ground in front of the creature. She said that the creature looked at the ground, then back at them, and began to growl. She said that the growl went up and down in sound, and it was very deep and menacing. She said that her husband shouldered his rifle again, but did not fire. What really gave her the chills was the look on the creature's face. She felt the creature knew that the rifle was small in caliber. It was not something that could kill it with one shot. Moments later, her husband fired again, and this time into the tree that was next to the creature. The creature didn't even flinch, but what it did next made both of them flee in terror. About 30 seconds after the second shot, the creature stood up on two legs. One of its front legs, arms, ? Was against the tree that her husband had shot. The growling continued, but it increased in volume by quite a bit, and the creature was moving its jaws up and down like it was gnashing its teeth. Her husband fired 3 shots directly at the creature, all 3 hitting it in the chest. The creature let out a drawn-out scream howl and ran off into the forest on 2 legs. They fled the other way back towards the vehicle. As they were skiing back, they had to pass through a small area of forest. As they were passing through the forest, they could hear something running towards them from a distance through the woods. They cleared the woods without anything happening, but when they broke out of the forest, they estimated that whatever was chasing them was no more than 35 to 40 yards behind them. She had her cell phone with her and was taking pictures. She had her cell phone with her and was thinking about using it to take a picture of the creature. And as she was thinking, she suddenly got a feeling If she took a photograph, the creature would kill both of them. She said that feeling was so strong that she immediately shoved the phone into her pocket. It wasn't as if the creature sent her a psychic message or anything. It was just a feeling. One thing she mentioned in a hushed, embarrassed voice, when her husband and her made it back to their vehicle, she noticed that she had actually peed her pants. She didn't even notice until the adrenaline rush ended. She had actually been so scared that she lost control of her bladder. She always thought that was just something from the movies. Location: Crow's Nest Pass, Alberta, near the town of Coleman. Date: December 1st, 2012. Creatures color: dark black. Height on 4 legs: 3 to 3.5 feet. Height on 2 legs: 6.5 to 7.5 feet. Sighting duration: 1 minute to a minute and a half. Sighting distance: 65 to 70 yards. Time of day: 11:30 a.m. to roughly 12:30 p.m. Weather conditions: cold, overcast, no wind, chance of snowfall. And that's it.
Okay. What do you think? What do you think of that one?
Huh.
That's a pretty well written story.
I agree.
Yeah,
I mean,
that was.
and if you're gonna make something up, you're not gonna tell anybody you peed your pants about that.
Exactly.
I mean,
Right.
that's just not something. You don't embarrass yourself like that. That's
Right.
No.
you know spontaneous utterance, Da. You know that you've heard that you plenty of times. You don't just say something like that if it's.
No, you don't. That's not something.
I tend to believe that story.
I
Yeah,
do
me too. Me too.
And the level of detail is good in it. It's
Yeah.
a creepy story.
hmm
I think if under the situation, considering how scared they were, I can completely understand why she didn't even notice.
Yeah,
That's true.
and something that kind of it's one of those things that just kind of makes you. And I can see it in my mind is when she described it, taking a shot and it hit the shot hitting the ground and the thing just looking down like, what's that supposed
Yeah.
to do?
Yeah, like you dumbass, you missed me. Like, come on. Oh boy.
Yeah, that's to me that's a fantastically detailed story, and I think it's creepy as hell.
Yeah, and it's in the middle of the day too. That to me makes it like
Oh yeah,
almost creepier in some ways because you expect to run into stuff like that, dusk till evening,
yeah.
night. You don't expect to see stuff like that in broad daylight.
Well, my sighting was in broad daylight.
Yeah, mine too. Mine was.
But you
when I
don't
was
expect
looking.
it though. To me, that's
No.
because
No.
Steve Padden says, so after
Yeah.
watching all these podcasts, one thing I've learned is never go into the woods without wearing your brown pants.
Exactly. Yeah, I mean,
I
mine
think
was
you
in
always
broad
say I like your new
daylight,
hat.
too. I didn't expect to see that coming around the corner, and I didn't
Oh.
see it, like I said, until it moved its head. That
Yeah.
was the weird thing.
That's the same
blended in
way
so
with me.
good.
I didn't even notice that Dogman until it turned its head. That little
Yeah.
bit of movement's what gave it away.
Yeah, I mean, it blended in perfectly. I mean, perfectly. To where, I mean, it was just crazy. Nuts. They had, let's see, who else is there? We got a bunch of people in chat. Wow.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you, everyone.
Richie Evans says swamp ape. Mine was in a Florida state park.
Where
Heck
in
yeah.
the state park, Richie? Because I'm in Florida. Where were you?
Yours was in the Ocala, wasn't it, Anthony?
No, mine was in Palm Beach when I lived
Okay.
in Palm Beach County. It was at JW Corbett Management Area.
Okay, I was thinking for some reason it was in the Ocala National.
No, but I mean, like I said, I want to get out there. It is, we got that one site, that one place that I can go to that Jamie gave me. It's by the bombing range, and it's, I mean, you go online. I mean, there's sightings all over around that bombing range, even to this day. So I want to get out there and get that rolling with that, like I said. But Richie, tell me what state park were you at, and if you were in Florida, where you at? Let's see who else is on here. Hope everyone's having a great evening. Yes, we are. Thank you. We put it Ace. Okay, I'm looking at the comments, trying to catch up on stuff. No, let's see. Oh, I guess that's it.
Okay, I'll jump into the next one anytime. Richie Evans says Chasowitska State Park, also called Hernando Sportsman's Club or Three Bridge Road.
Yep, I know exactly where it's at, man. Been down there. Yes,
I get down there, we've got to go to some of these places, bud.
I'll take you guys deep into the Ocala, in the woods up here, because up over here there's no swamp hardly. So, I mean, you can walk. It's a lot of sugar sand up here. So, hopefully by then I'll have my nice 4-wheel drive truck. So, and I am looking for, like I said, when I get that, you know what we talked about, where me and DA are looking for a Jeep.
Yeah.
To use, just to go out in the woods with. Just to be
an older one. We don't care if we hit a tree with it.
Yeah, I could bang it up. I'll, weld what I have to weld on it. But yeah, we're going to have something to go out and kick around in the woods with. So I ain't taking my brand new truck out there and getting scrapped.
Lene Perkins says she's got a question. Will the next Dogman conference be in Paris, Tennessee? I don't know at this point. I don't think they've even started planning the next one, but I'm very confident there will be another one. So I'm hoping I can talk to Josh and maybe do it here in Springfield, because we have a convention center here in town called the Oasis Convention Center that can hold probably 5,000 people. So we could sell a heck of a lot more tickets and get a lot more people there. John Gray says at the Ex Machina podcast, hi guys, just started Apex Predator Wolf Moon. Already devoured half of it in 2 days. Absolutely love it. Can't wait to read more. Thanks, DA. Thank you. That is awesome.
Yep.
That's the best kind of praise you can get.
That's a really good one.
Yeah.
Just wait, they get better.
Oh yeah. You guys have no idea. Because you guys don't realize we get the unproofed stuff to read before you guys get it. So
Robbie said Blood Moon was a gut punch.
Oh yes. I was like,
don't say anything. I haven't read it yet.
Okay, I won't.
I know John read it. You sent it to John, right? You sent that one to John, right? Yeah,
I got a few texts from Robbie while he was reading Blood Moon. He's like, what the heck, man?
I did read it. Yeah, that's the one that you sent me and John. I read it. Yeah, that was a good one.
Dude, I had to put this thing down and walk away for 30 minutes or an hour.
Yeah.
I was like, I can't do this right now.
Yeah.
You see, to me, that's, as a writer, that's the best thing you can hope for, is to get people emotionally invested in the story. When people enjoy the characters and get so invested in the lives of these characters, that when something happens that's life changing for this character, people get sometimes they get upset, sometimes they get very emotional. Like in the Ragnarok Rising series, there's a character I won't name for this because I don't want to spoil it for anybody who hasn't read it yet. But when this character did not make it, I was doing a show in Kansas City called Conquest, and when this guy found out I was going to be at the show in Kansas City, he drove from Oklahoma City to Kansas City to argue with me about killing off that character. Ended up being a really good conversation, but when he first got to the table, he was pissed. I would love that. Pink Dolly says, DA, we need to talk seriously to Tanya Willis about trying to get your material out to a production company. She's a smart cookie. Hey, I am down. As Carrie would say, I'm down like 4 flat tires.
That's it.
Karen Polson says, I reread the books 2 to 3 times and enjoy them all again. That is awesome. You see, that is the hugest praise that you can get. I mean, when somebody enjoys a book enough to read it more than once, those are the books that really stick with you. And I really, really appreciate that. That is so awesome. Thank you so much.
I've read Lakeview Man 4 times, and I've read the first Wild Hunt book 4 times.
My hope is that each time you read it, you find something new.
Yep.
Yeah.
But wait, I didn't catch that the first time.
There's a lot of little subtle details in there.
I like the audibles when Cam does the audible, when he does the audible books. Just to let it, I have dyslexia, so a lot of times when I read something, I have a hard time and it kills me. And I'm like, so I like the audibles when I read it. So it's, I mean, when I listen to it, I like his voice. It gets you really into it, into the story.
Yeah, Cam does a really good job.
Oh, yeah, he does.
David By says, DA, like when I messaged you about crossing Lake of the Ozarks and seeing a sign for Bagnall Dam. My grandfather helped build that dam back in the 30s.
Nice, really?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he worked for the crew that did all the concrete.
Oh, see, Pink Dahlia struggles too. See, we're just alike. See, there you go. She has the same thing.
Well, we're going to try to get more and more of them out on audio. Cam said he's hoping to have in the next 2 to 3 weeks because he's going to do them back to back. He said he's hoping to have both Wild Hunt Curse of the Wendigo and Wild Hunt Operation Blood Eagle both sent to Amazon for approval. So I'll keep my hopefully keep my fingers crossed.
Well, he's been busy. I know that. He even said it when
he's a very busy dude, but he said most of his stuff's all caught up. I talked to him about him saying that he wasn't really going to do many audiobooks. I don't want to give too much away, but he is going to be working on Steve Lilly channel.
Just for stories. You're going to be doing some of the writing on that too, aren't you? You're going to help him?
I'm going to be jumping in and doing some of that too. I'm also going to be writing some stories. I've already got one started that I'm writing for Josh Nanochio over at What Lurks Beneath. So look for some of my stuff over there as well. And speaking of Joe Bald Road earlier, now I can't tell you the story or the guy's name because I don't have his permission to use it on the show, but I ran into a guy yesterday that I'm trying to get on the show. Again, I can't say his name. He was telling me about his Dogman encounter. And this was a few years back. And all I can say, I don't want to give away the details because I want him to come on and tell the full thing because there's a lot to it. Basically, it attacked him while he was driving down the road. And I asked him, my son Noah was sitting next to me when I was talking to this guy. I asked him, where was this? And Noah gasped when the guy said, on the road outside Joe Bald.
Really?
Yeah. I was like, oh, you don't say.
They don't do that.
It's on Joe Bald Road.
And people ask why me and Robbie carry 450 and 458 rifles. Come on, people. Really?
Yeah. Meg says I have a piece of the original Brooklyn Bridge with type letter of man who designed it. That's awesome. Steve Patton says Robbie less reading, more patrolling. LMAO.
Yeah, we won't get into Robbie's story what he did to us today, me and DA, but you know.
But y'all liked it.
Yeah, it was funny.
I thought it was real. I was like, did he really? I even texted him like, he did not do that. Did he really?
Yeah, we were kind of curious for a while. I'm like, surely he didn't actually do that.
Yeah. Before you came on the show, I asked DA, I'm like, did he really say that to the guy?
I doubt it. Surely not. He'd probably get in trouble by his lieutenant.
Yeah.
Which wouldn't be the first time I've
done
something.
I could see Robbie doing that. I could see him doing that. Hey, by the way, did you hear about the conference? The guy be like, huh? What are you talking about?
I was not usually the guy standing on the carpet in front of the captain's desk. I was usually the guy standing next to the guy going, yeah, I thought it would work too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's usually more than one of us on the carpet.
Yeah.
But anyway, I'm going to go ahead and jump into this next story. Since we're already kind of digressing pretty good. Hey, we've got a pretty good attendance tonight. We've got over 104 people right now.
Yeah, we do. Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
Quick, we've got 67 likes so far. So if you guys don't mind, hit that like, subscribe, and share button. That really does help the algorithm. Helps us get the channel out there farther. I'm going to put that.
And if you don't, I'm coming to your house and I'm going to drop off the Dogman.
Okay, I'm going to start this next one. This next one is also from Canada. It's from Alberta, Canada. So about 3 years ago, I encountered what I could only explain then as a deformed hyena. It was on the later part of the day under dusky conditions, and I was small game hunting at the time. I didn't feel any fear because I was carrying my over-under shotgun. Its eyes were kind of strange, and I remember it had pointy ears. Its head was almost cartoon-like, as its snout had messed up, overgrown hair. Its fangs looked unusually long, too. For some time before I saw it, I heard a very, very long coughing noise, like a cat coughing up a fur ball. However, this went on for quite a while. So whatever did it had a strong and large lung capacity. I doubt a lynx or a cat could have been the noisemaker. I have no idea if this dog-like creature was the source of this strange and long coughing fit. Another strange thing along this trail, I always seem to be under watchful eyes of a high-flying turkey vulture. Now, these are newcomers to Alberta, but a few mating pairs have been reported up here, and this is a common local knowledge that no one questions. This coughing bout I've heard at least once before in this specific area. Never seen the source of it nearby because of the dense boreal forest. This wooded area is kind of on the edge of an oil exploration and is an active work area now, so I don't hunt there anymore, which is too bad as it's chock full of small game such as rabbits and grouse. During this summer, the woods were unnaturally quiet. It's hard to move in many areas off trail because the evergreen limbs reach so far close to the ground, an upright person would be stooped over to move at any kind of speed in many areas. Quadrupeds have a definite advantage here over people, and the area is also ringed with swamps and marshy, very uneven ground that one could easily turn your ankle on. There were other strange moments then. I think when I did see this animal, I sat down on a large rock with my gun across my lap and caught the first glimpse as it was circling me, I think to catch my scent on the wind. I just caught a glimpse of it passing behind a tree in the dusky light conditions. It had hocks like a dog, but as it came around the tree, still on four legs, I noticed the front legs were longer than the back legs. Its back bowed upwards, and I got the distinct impression its front. I don't know what they're trying to say. Frontal, back, chest, and leg muscles were much more pronounced and muscular than its back legs. I believe the front coat was also a light color with some reddish tones to it. Looked like a hyena loose in North America to me. It wasn't a black bear. I'm very familiar with bears. It was canine-like, but not like any canine I've ever seen before or since. My brother, although he wasn't there at the time, found a near-perfect picture of another critter online on another crypto site, and the picture was said to be taken very near the Wisconsin River. In the picture, it looked like it was on farmland, farmland corral or fence line. It was in the early spring because of the white light snow covering. It was near a twin to what I saw that fall evening in Alberta.
Okay.
That's not the first time I've heard one described as being hyena-like.
No, we talked about that too in the previous shows. That's crazy.
I think I've still got that image. No, I think I took it down. Yeah, I must have deleted it. Of the 7 types of dogmen, apparently I took it down. I can only have so many pictures in my cache at a time, so I have to constantly rotate pictures out. What do you guys think?
I like that was crazy. That was a nut. Yeah. That was crazy.
That's another pretty well put together and well written story.
I liked it. I mean, I think it's very credible. I mean, they didn't make any statements that I thought was really bizarre.
No big red flags on it.
Right. To me, I think it was a pretty credible story. I also think it was probably stalking them.
Well, yeah. I mean, like we talked about in the other shows, they do that. So it's like, even the one out, look at the one that you guys, when you were doing that video for the book at night, you and Steve. Mm-hmm. I mean, Steve pissed on the tree where it was standing behind.
Yeah.
He didn't even know. I mean,
had no idea it was there.
No.
David By said, you guys have read other reports where they look like a hyena. Yeah, there's a lot of reports out there that describe them as being hyena-like.
Yeah. Yeah. I think we don't have that up like you said, right? We don't have that one thing.
I can probably give me a second and I'll see if I can bring it up. I know I've still got the image. I've just got to find it.
Hold on. I think it's in here. I'll post it if I find it before you. I'm looking. No, you got the pictures. No, it's not in the banner thing.
Found it.
You got it?
Yeah.
Okay. There it is.
Mm-hmm.
Variant 2 on the bottom, right there.
Right.
And
there seem to be quite a few people seeing ones that look like hyenas.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the one. Yeah, that's the one. I mean, I know they say they're in Florida, but I mean, I don't really get enough. I don't hear a lot of encounters in Florida be honest with you, man.
Even the NADP doesn't have very many. There's only like a couple that we've got on file from Florida.
You know,
And
I know Nana Boss talked about that one that she took the picture of.
Yeah.
Out there in Palm Beach, and it looked more dog-like than what she's seen in the picture with the ears, and she was talking about that when she was on the show, and that blew me away because it's right where I was. So
yeah,
you wonder how these things cohabitate with each other. Oh, here we go with the X. He doesn't give up with the X.
No, definitely not.
Do you guys even talk anymore, Northwoods? Or I guess not, right? I mean,
don't sound like it.
I know.
I think Dolly says Letitia not only saw something huge that looked like a hyena, she didn't see a head or tail, but the body was long as a cat is wide. Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
Namiri says, "Oh my God, my horse is coughing. Don't do that to me." Well, I sent the next account to Robbie. This one he should be pretty happy with. It's quite a bit shorter than he's been getting.
Yeah.
You drew the short one this time.
There's no coffee involved either.
No coffee.
No
There's been no
coffee.
coffee in any of these stories. What's going on, man?
It's not Bigfoot.
It's not been coffee talk.
No coffee talk. Hold on, Robbie. I got to answer this question. DA, you guys put it in your input. Question, man. Okay. Does the Dogman be a swamp ape or swamp? People say it is, but we don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, nobody knows 100% but for sure. But the description of Dogman sounds too much like a werewolf and not at all like any type of ape. In fact, let me bring that image up again real quick. The ones at the top, the Type 3, the Type 3 variant 1s, 2, and 3s, I think are just misidentified Gugway because if you look at them, they look more ape-like than dog-like.
Especially the variant, the Type 3 at the very end on top.
Yeah, I think that is definitely misidentified Gugway.
Yeah. I can't. He just put Anthony trying to talk to us. Oh my God. All right, Robbie, I'm sorry. Go ahead, man.
That's fine. All right. Going back to Canada. Canada, eh?
Hey.
A lot of Canadians.
Sorry, I had to bring the Super Troopers thing out.
I know.
Gillum, Manitoba is where this one's coming out of.
Mm-hmm.
Said, I saw something that put a big scare into me. I'm going to describe it. Not sure you'll believe it, but I'm certain about what I saw that day. This happened in August of 2009 as I was driving to my husband's place of employment. We live in Gillum, Manitoba, and he's an electrician for one of the generating stations on the river. It was close to 3 p.m. I had just turned off one of the residential roads near my home, heading east on PR 280, about a half a mile, or excuse me, on PR 280. About a half a mile from my turn, I caught a glimpse of something tall moving through the trees to my right. Then suddenly it jumped onto the shoulder and stood there as I drove by. I looked in the mirror and saw it quickly cross to the other side of the road. I picked up speed and didn't stop until I reached the station. I had chills all over, and I got a decent look at it. It had a large wolf head, but it was standing upright on legs, which looked man-like. I didn't see arms as I passed by, but I did see arms swaying back and forth when I looked back in the mirror as it crossed the road. The coloring of the head and body hair was charcoal with darker patches. If it was an actual gray wolf, then it was the largest one I'd ever heard of. I thought that someone was playing tricks, but that wouldn't make sense since that's really, really weird the way that is read out. Sorry.
No worries.
It makes sense since I think it was during the hunting season. I did tell my husband, who later checked the area where I saw it, but he said he didn't see anything, and there were no reports of a large gray wolf along the river a year or two before. But he had not heard anything beyond. Excuse me, there were reports from a year or two before, but he hadn't heard anything beyond that. I still don't know if he believes me. I also said something to my uncle through marriage, who is a Chippewa. My uncle told me that it was not a. Okay, I know I'm going to butcher this. Maniguan.
Your guess is as good as mine, dude.
It's got wolf in parentheses, so I'm assuming that's.
Did you say marijuana? Marijuana?
No, it's Ma'ingan.
Sounds
It's in Chippewa.
Sounds Italian to me.
My apologies, but I don't speak Chippewa.
Well, I got Cherokee in me, so it's foreign to me. Sorry. And then I must forget about it. He then recited some words under his breath and told me not to mention it again. That kind of freaked me out. Since it was 5 years ago, I haven't thought of it much until I read a newspaper article about the Dogman and sightings people had in other locations. And that's the end of it.
That's not a bad attachment. I mean, not a bad story. Even though it's short, it's gets to the point.
And the uncle's reaction to it kind of.
Mm-hmm. And I like the Native American aspect of it as well.
And for Big Dahlia, there's no red flags in that story for me.
No.
Since she liked that comment that I made.
Let's see. Hold on.
Anybody got any comments?
No, not really.
Going back to what we was talking about before I started reading that, the misidentifications and all that stuff, going back to like the swamp apes and
Right.
So many different terminologies or, I think you and I had a discussion about this, DA, about the different species, types, whatever. Dogman and Bigfoot have always been kind of maybe lumped into the same category as cryptids.
Right.
But if you look at all the most of the southern stuff, like around Anthony and I, you hear the skunk ape and the Honey Island swamp monster and all that stuff. Most people consider those as Bigfoot, but then when you start getting in Louisiana, the Lougarou.
Yeah, the Rougarou a big thing down there. Yeah, that looks more like a dog, they said.
Yeah,
too.
those are more like dogmen and werewolves. But, some of these, the misidentifications could be going in reverse. Instead of seeing a skunk ape, they may have been seeing Dogman and just thought, okay, well, that's Bigfoot. That's what I saw. So,
right. Well, it's like the one I seen. I was telling DA, and I told you it looked more Native American, and the only way I could describe it, it looked like an Aborigine from Australia. It had that real caveman Native American, and no offense to Native Americans, but that's what it looked like. And
kind of like a Neanderthal.
Yeah, it was like a mix, but you could tell it looked human. That's what it looked like, but not fully developed.
I've often wondered if certain subspecies of Bigfoot, and I know some people say there in the United States there might be as many as 10 different types if you count the Genosqua and the Gugway as individual types.
Right.
I think some of them may be relic Neanderthals,
especially
if you look at the book by Danny Vendramini, Them and Us, how Neanderthal predation shaped modern man.
And he says that. He says they do change because of genetics and interbreeding. The interbreeding will change them. Like the one that Rob seen, what's his name? Michigan Rob, is that it?
Yeah, BMR Rob.
He said it looked more like a Mongol, like it looked more like it had Down syndrome. I mean, and that could be from interbreeding, you know, and that's not the only person I heard say that, you know. But like the one Fred has encounters with in Alaska, it looks just like the ones that are down by me and Robbie in our area. That look more caveman and that Native American look to it. So I mean, it could be even with you. If you interbreed inside your family unit, you're going to get genetic mishaps. So that could be it. Not everybody answer at once. Jeez. Okay. Thanks. Leave me hanging like that. DA's writing love letters over there. I don't know what he's doing.
I mean, I think you make a good point, Anthony. I think obviously there has to be some of that, if not a lot of that going on.
Right.
And who's to say that because if you look at different encounters and you look at, okay, this person had a nice peaceful encounter, but this person over here felt like they're lucky they got out of the place alive. You know, to me, a lot of that just stems from some of the stuff that DA's written in his books. You know, like, they're not all the exact same.
Right. There is variance. Just like you take a slice of people across North America, and I'm not just talking people of Asian descent or people of Native American descent. Right. You take any one group of people, doesn't matter, which ethnic background it is. You line 10 individuals up and they've all got different facial structures.
Well, yeah, it's like even the footprints that Pink Dahlia said, even the footprints, you're going to get genetic mishaps. And just like when we had Dr. Meldrum on, he said it. Even great apes have different, their foot patterns are different than another great ape in that little unit. Just like mine. Our footprint's not going to be the same as Robbie's or DA's. It's going to have one toe's going to be bigger than the other, or, and it happens. And that's the truth. Even the weird footprints, like she said, you're going to find genetic imperfections in it, in anybody. I mean, it's, that's evolution. That's how it happens. So, now, where does the Dogman come from? Don't know. Never encountered one.
Well, and two, as far as the Dogman's concerned, if they're truly canine in their DNA or whatever, I mean, how many different breeds can there be out there? Just like dogs. I mean, how many breeds of dogs are there? Like,
lots.
700 or more, probably.
I'd like to get that one guy that has a show on YouTube. He says he has, quote unquote, and I don't say I don't believe him. He has somebody that writes to him that has firsthand proof that their DNA has canine in it. And I'm not going to mention him on the show until, I get his approval and try to get him on here. I emailed him. I want to get him on here because he does get some really good stuff. But if it is true, somebody's screwing around with DNA, which we already know the government does. I mean, it goes back to World War II, what the Germans did. We all know that. I mean, that came out, in the wash already. So what doesn't, like even what Jessica said, how do we know it's not a government, screw up making a super soldier or doing this or we don't know, man. They got so many, like Robbie, DA, the government's not going to tell you everything at all, no. At all. So it's up in the air, people. I don't know. I wish I can answer that. I wish DA could answer it. Robbie too. I mean, hell, we'd be rich right now.
But if you look at a lot of the stories and encounters from Dogman, when people start talking about that,
Mhm.
that comes up way more than is just a coincidental thing of, oh well, it's a government experiment. It's it's a super soldier program or whatever, however you want to look at it.
Yeah, I don't think it is. Could the government have experimented on them?
Could be.
Maybe, but
Right.
some of the sightings of these things go back to the 1600s.
Yeah.
Our government certainly didn't have the
And
ability to do
I
that
agree with
back
you,
then.
Da. I don't think that the government invented them, but you
I
do
think
hear that a lot. That's
right.
a lot of what people.
I think they messed with them, of
Yeah.
course. The one about the Dogman matching up in front of 29 Palms. Oh,
I've heard
and
that
then
too. And,
Marine
and, and
Base.
again, I'm not saying that,
Yeah.
that it's not possible that our government has experimented on them or even used them, but I don't think they created them because
Now,
because of the history involved.
now that there's a lot of sightings, yes, out there, especially out by where Robbie is. Well, Paris Island.
Yep.
Out in Buford.
Fort Bragg.
Carolina. Yeah, there's a lot of sightings out there, man. I mean, 29 Palms. Well, everybody we used to call it 29 Stubs because there are hardly any palms on them. But anyway, there is a lot of, even when they were doing a lot of maneuvers, a lot of the Marines would run into these so-called cryptids, which they didn't know what it was.
Well,
so
there's actually a sighting, a Bigfoot sighting, right outside of Camp Lejeune.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and
it was a Marine who filed that sighting.
Yeah, I mean, even where my son went to boot camp, went up to Fort Lindenwood in Missouri.
Yeah, Leonard Wood.
There's a ton of sightings up there.
Yeah, a lot of Bigfoot sightings in and around Leonard Wood.
Oh,
there's been some on Leonard Wood itself.
Yeah, I mean, some of the stuff I read, I was like, wow, So,
Steve Patton says, didn't on one of the episodes, didn't someone say they saw a Dogman who had a collar on it? Yeah, there's been a couple of sightings that reported some type of collar. And again, I'm not saying our government's above doing that kind of crap. Someone made the comment that they didn't trust them, and I don't either. But I wouldn't say that they would be above trying to convert something like that to some sort of super soldier.
They'll teach a dolphin to put a mine on a ship.
Yeah, they did that in World War II.
Yeah, what
they were doing that back in the 50s.
They found a Dogman out there. Oh, let's weaponize this.
No kidding.
They were training SEALs. They were training sea lions to do the same thing. I mean,
if you're going to weaponize things like that, why would you not weaponize something like a Dogman?
Exactly.
Or Sasquatch? I mean,
that's probably why the government's so interested in it at the same time claiming they don't exist.
Right.
Lene Perkins had a good question. She said, could climate also be a factor on differing body types of Bigfoot and Dogman? Kind of like animals in the extreme northern climate, smaller ears, more fur.
Yeah.
Southern animals. Exactly.
I agree.
I've likened it to like bears. Like down here in the lower 48, black bears don't get super huge. But then you get into the northern states, you start running into the good-sized grizzly bears. You get up into Alaska, the grizzly bears are even bigger, like the Kodiaks. And then you get up above the Arctic Circle, you start running into polar bears, and they're just massive.
Well,
I think the farther north, the colder climates, the more they rely on protein, so they're going to be bigger.
And look at all the sightings out of Nepal for the Yeti.
Right.
Basically the same structure if you think about it as a Bigfoot, but a lot of the stuff they describe is bigger, meaner, which for that type of climate it would have to be because
that's
what big field come across. So it's going to be more aggressive.
Chris M says Joint Base Lewis McCord in Washington has a ton of Bigfoot sightings. I had a buddy that was stationed there, and the instructors for the survival school told them when they were laughing about Bigfoot sightings, he said, "Yeah, you laugh now. Wait till you get out in the field. It's not going to be so funny when you run into."
They had that. What was that? That one Marine unit doing the maneuvers. What was it in Alaska? They were doing snow training, and those two of them snuck up on that whole. They were doing an exercise, and they snuck up on them.
Mm-hmm. David By says, "Da, the facility in Ragnarok Rising." The funny thing is when in the Ragnarok Rising books, I talked about that underground lab facility on Fort Leonard Wood. I just got confirmation from somebody the other day. They're actually building an underground lab at Fort Leonard Wood. So I kind of predicted that.
Nice.
Jesse Von Rensselaer says, what gets me is with our encounter of seeing 5 different ones is when you get a good look at them, it definitely is for sure that no 2 are the same, whether it be colors or markings. Well, it's the same with wolves in a wolf pack. No 2 wolves in a wolf pack have identical markings. Everyone's a little, is kind of unique. Kind of like if you've ever owned a Dalmatian, the spots are, you have 2 Dalmatians side by side. Yeah, they're both spotted, but they're not in the same places.
You see stuff like that all throughout nature. I mean, you know how they identify great white sharks is the different patterns that they have because every one of them is different. The patterns that have on the lateral lines across their body, all those patterns are different. That's how they take photographs of. Oh, well, that's slash or whatever they name them.
Right.
Yeah. Steve Padden's got a good point. He says, well, a good observation on different sizes. Here in Missouri, look at the size of the deer. Go north of Interstate 70, and they're much larger in size than they are south of I-70. He's right. South of I-70 is more forested and hilly lands, and you get north of I-70 is a lot of cornfields. The corn-fed deer get bigger.
The deer down here are not that big, but you go more north, like he said. Even up in New York, upstate New York, and they're massive compared to here. It's like.
Well, I could say one thing. They released elk down near Eminence, Missouri, and the population just exploded. And down there where they have no known predators, although there's a lot of Bigfoot sightings come out of the Eminence area, without any known predators, that the herds have taken off. The farmers are considering them a nuisance down there because they're getting into crops and taking livestock feed. They're just an ungulate that big is hard to prevent it from going wherever the heck it wants. Chris M says, sorry, I missed it. How did you find out about the underground base? That's fascinating. The one on Fort Leonard Wood, they're just starting to build. But in my Ragnarok books, which I wrote 10 years ago, I just put one there because it made sense to me. And it turns out they're actually building the thing. Now, something else I mentioned in the Ragnarok books are something called a POMCUS cache. It's POMCUS. It stands for Position Outside Military Control United States. Those are scattered all over the U.S. and our allies. They range in size from having enough equipment to outfit a company to outfitting divisions. They're underground facilities left just in case a unit has to defend the territory. They have a place they can fall back to and gather supplies, ammo, and equipment. So they're everywhere in the U.S. and all over Europe.
It's a rally point.
Exactly. A fallback point where they can equip. Big K Show says, I think there's a post in one of the Bigfoot groups I'm in that a park official allegedly put up a notice saying that there's been Bigfoot sightings, so stay alert. I've heard about some of that. Some of the trailheads in the Pacific Northwest are now being marked, warning people of dangerous passages. Lene Perkins says, same in Oklahoma. The deer are small, but the whitetail here in southern Illinois usually dress up to 100, 150 pounds. Yeah, you can get some good-sized whitetail, ranging. And if you get up near the Iowa border where they just grow corn everywhere, you'll get 200-pounders. They'll be big ones.
Well, that's what that statement of big corn-fed.
Mm-hmm.
That's where you get that statement from.
Yeah, corn-fed is an apt description too.
I know. I'm corn-fed.
Same here. Hillbilly. You ready to do the next story?
Sure.
All righty. This is another one out of New Brunswick, Canada. It says, my grandfather told me this story when I was a teenager. I'm 52 now. My granddad grew up in the woods of central New Brunswick in a very remote area where only survivalists go now. Their whole family lived out in the sticks. They lived by hunting, fishing, trapping, and some logging. Granddad said when he was a teenager, he and his older brother Duke were up there in the early hours checking trap lines on an old motorbike. It was in the early fall. Frost was on the grass, and the early morning mist still hung around in the forest edges. He was rolling cigarettes with his brother when they were out of matches, so they dipped a bit of cloth in the gas tank and ignited it off a coil wire. Wow, that's hardcore if you're wanting to have a smoke. That's a hardcore way to light a cigarette.
That is.
While Duke kicked the bike over.
I hope they didn't do it near the truck. Jeez.
No kidding. The sound of a bike being kicked over without an ignition is sort of like an animal call. And that's how my granddad described it anyway. Anyway, just as they started smoking their cigarettes, my grandfather noticed something bounding through the tree line toward them. Granddad said it ran in a way that a bear did, but it stopped several yards away from them and stood up on its hind legs. It was still too far away to tell what it was, but they assumed it was a black bear because it was they were very common in New Brunswick. That's when it began walking upright toward them. As it got nearer, Granddad said it was like a huge werewolf. His family origin was German, so this was not unknown to them. It got as close to 20 feet away from them and then began to eye them closely. It sniffed their smokes and turned and hopped/ran back into the trees. Granddad said that they weren't scared. He said that they were only shocked that such a creature was living in the woods. Granddad said it was taller than any man, had a huge head, evil eyes, long upright ears, hands with long claws, and had hair all over its body. I can't remember what color he said the fur was, but he said it was like it had wolf-like legs. So that's a pretty close sighting within 20 feet.
Oh, yeah.
I think it's wild that he said he didn't feel threatened by it. Those guys were either stone cold, or like one of those guys that's just completely unfathomable. Yeah, you got to. Yeah, anybody that'll light a cigarette off a coil wire, that's pretty freaking hardcore.
I lit a cigarette off of my eyeglasses out in the woods because I needed one with the sun.
That's pretty hardcore, dude.
Yeah, I know.
Maybe that's why they were unfazed by this thing, because
yeah, sounds like these guys have been there, done that, and literally were starting cigarettes off a motorcycle coil.
Unfazed is not a description I would have made of myself if I'd have seen that.
Oh, hell no.
Maybe it didn't approach any closer because they were armed and said they were out checking their trap line.
That could be.
So it could be any number of things.
And I know how seeing the Bigfoot that I saw, I know how that made me feel. I can't imagine running into something like that out in the woods, because that talk about the stuff of nightmares.
No kidding. Heck, if it's within 20 feet, it's close enough to get you before you even get a chance to get a shot off.
That picture that you showed that we were talking about that time of your man, I still think about that picture when we were talking about that, and I still get chills thinking about that, and I wasn't even there.
The one from Joe Bald?
Yes.
I can bring that up. I still have those in here.
I just want to make you sleep with your Glock. Yeah, those.
And there it is, ducking behind the tree. You can see the hand, though.
Yep.
Yeah.
When you convert it over to black and white, you can see it pretty well.
Yeah, you see it better.
There's the one that really jumps out at you. The really thing that really freaks me out the most about that is that it was within 20 yards of us and we never knew it was there.
Yeah.
If that thing had wanted us, it would have got us. There's no way I would have cleared leather unless it was, busy killing Steve before I could get a shot off.
Yeah.
And just to reiterate what Anthony said earlier, when people question why he and I carry the big 4.58 SOCOMs, you just saw the picture.
Yeah. Tombstone says he's playing peekaboo with you.
If you would have seen what I seen out there, and everybody, I don't know if everybody, but I had my rifle on it, and like I said, and I had a 308, and it's the truth, and I never believed it when people go, well, I had a rifle, and when they go, oh, I don't think it was a big enough caliber. That's the way I felt, because this thing had such muscle mass on it. It took me a while to compute what it was. That's the whole thing. So,
and for those of you out there who don't understand anything about guns, for him to say that he don't think a 308 was big enough,
exactly,
that's saying something.
Yeah.
I mean, 308's a pretty powerful round.
A 308 will reach out anywhere up to the maximum reach for a 308 is about 7. You're pushing it 800 yards, and that's a lot of drop. The M40 sniper rifle in the Marine Corps, that was their go-to sniper rifle with the McMillan stock. I mean, they're taking out targets. You're taking out, man-sized targets at 600-700 yards. I mean, that's not a problem. I didn't feel comfortable shooting this thing if I wanted to at 150-200 yards with it. Let's put it like that. it would have pissed it off, I think. You know,
Folks, if you haven't had a chance to watch that Joe Bald breakdown video that we're talking about, this is from an incident that happened about 2.5 years ago. My buddy Steve, who's usually on Saturday nights, he and I were down shooting a promo video for the Lakeview Man down in the Joe Bald campground. It's an abandoned campground. The Army Corps of Engineers shut it down, but you can still get into it. But we shot this video down there, and that's where we got those stills from. We didn't know at the time there was something watching us from behind the tree, but we got it on video. The breakdown video is now in the chat. If you guys haven't had a chance to watch it, hope you guys would check it out. Love to hear what you guys think. We've done a couple shows where we talked about it, but I wanted to share that one. Can kind of toss that one out there and let everyone check it out. Big K show says, if I went out and there's a Bigfoot with ill intent, I'd want to keep a large handgun on me because they'd have me on the ground so fast. It's the only thing I'd be able to fire. I take a long gun, a pistol, and a knife.
Yeah, my next little toy is going to be a 10mm to take out with me.
David's right. DA, I don't have to outrun the critters. I just have to outrun someone else, even if I need to trip them.
Oh yeah.
Never go Bigfoot hunting with somebody you can't outrun.
That's right. Or, trip up. Like John.
True.
What do you think I take John with me for?
Put him in the wig and throw some barbecue sauce on him.
That's it. Yeah, bye. See you later. Yeah.
Lene Perkins says, when I know I'm going deep in the woods around here, I'm always packing. It's not safe to go around here between the wildlife and the illegals. Big Dolly says, all I have is a knife and a hair stick. Hey, you can do a lot of damage with that.
Excuse me.
I got a pretty big laugh out of everybody during my presentation at the conference when I told everybody, if you're going out there, make sure you take something to defend yourself, because it's not just the cryptids you got to look out for. There's wild animals, bears, mountain lions, snakes, and then of course the greater North American meth head, and, and people just cracked up. Pink Dolly says, D.A. Joe says he's going to arm me. There you go. But I just sent the next one over to Robbie. Robbie, this one's a little longer. Sorry, brother.
Yeah, I know. I didn't roll through it. Thanks, buddy.
You're welcome. Don't worry, the next few are pretty long.
All right, here we go. Hi, this is from Michigan. Montague says, hello, I live in rural West Michigan in the town of Montague. It is located in northern Muskegon County. I've had 3 different encounters with a wolf-like creature. The first encounter took place on or about February 2nd, 2016, 4:38 a.m. I was shoveling the driveway as it was snowing heavily and needed to be cleared for the propane delivery. There are woods all around, but the encounter took place in the woods to the south. As I was about halfway done with the shoveling, I was about halfway done with the shoveling when I heard a splash in the creek. They really said creek.
Creek?
Yes. That's not my southern accent, people. That is what is written in here, in the creek. Then all of a sudden, this huge, and I mean huge, wolf-like creature leapt into the air and took, I guess it's supposed to be took off, but it says took of, with a supersonic burst of speed to the west. It crossed the road and continued west. I heard branches snapping right and left. I stood there absolutely frozen, in total shock and amazement at what I had just seen. The second encounter took place on April 11th, 2016, about 3:15 p.m. I was a bit shaken up by the first encounter. This was my first trip back into the woods since. I was walking the property, which consists of about 30 acres of mainly hardwood and creek bottom. They actually said creek this time instead of creek.
Hey, man, creek's an Ozark word. I'm used to that one. Kind of like fixing to.
Yeah, fixing to. I mean, I knew what it said. I was just surprised that somebody from Michigan said creek. Mainly hardwoods in the creek bottom. I was crossing. Here we go again. I was crossing the creek, headed east, when I caught something out of the corner of my eye to the south. I was about 30 to 35 yards from what I thought was a black bear. It was tearing profusely at the west bank of the creek.
Sounds like our kind of folks.
Yep. Then it stood up, and I froze. It turned around and stood up on its hind legs. This was at least 7.5 feet tall, and I was in the middle of the creek, and I was absolutely shitting myself.
Like you said, don't wear the brown pants. Everybody says it.
I didn't want to run out of fear. It would give chase, and the firearm I had brought didn't stand a chance against this thing. Then all of a sudden, it put its nose straight up in the air and sniffed a couple of times. It looked immediately to the east, looked back at me, and with two huge strides, took off into the thicket, headed east. After it cleared the thicket, it jumped into the trees and was leaping from treetop to treetop. And this one had all black fur that was matted and smelled horrendous, like rotten guts and sour fruit. The first wolf-like creature I saw was grayish in color with a little white in it. They both had pointed ears and a snout and a number of jagged-looking teeth and tails. The second one had much longer claws than the first one did. The third and final encounter came May 2nd, 2016 at about 9:20 p.m. I was collecting some kindling from the wood lines south of the house, and I had just about finished when I heard a loud snap. I stopped and listened for any movement. I'm on the wood line, not in the woods. I'm frightened to step foot in them. Then I heard rustling sounds and another snap. This one sounded like a bone, not a branch. The sound intensified, so I click on my flashlight. I started to scan the distance. As I got about halfway, I see glistening eyes, yellow in color, about 25 yards in front of me. I kept my light on it. It snarled and let out a deep growling sound that literally shook me. I started back up, and again, this thing stood up and bent over to pick something up. I kept the light on it. It picked up what it was after, turned around, looked at me like I had interrupted something it was just doing, and just walked off into the woods to the south and disappeared. The next day, I have my cousin walk out with me to where the creature stood. What we found was the hide, and only the hide, of a white-tailed deer. I truly believe that the creature I saw was responsible for this. It was skinned like something just G the creature, like something just G the creature I saw reminds me of a werewolf. In my 3 encounters, the one thing that freaks me out is how eerily silent it got before my encounters. I have since found out that the property has many Indian burial grounds on it. Heavily wooded and fresh water creek running through the entire property. I used to walk the woods 4 times a week, and since my encounters, I have very hard time walking in the wood line, let alone the woods themselves.
Okay.
That one was kind of brutal there towards the end.
Yeah, got a little rough.
Yeah.
Meg Mill says, do we have a show on Saturday? Well, I was planning on it, but I kind of fell into some Cardinals tickets. So we're going to go watch the Cardinals because they're making a playoff run. So sorry, I'm a big Cardinals fan. Got to go support my Redbirds.
Just like my Yankees are going to be in the World Series. So,
well, you know, we played the Yankees the other day and swept them.
Yeah, I don't want to hear it. Yeah.
And that's the first time the Cardinals have ever done that to the Yankees.
Yeah, I know.
In the history of the franchise.
We were watching it the other night.
All the games were fantastic.
Yeah. I don't know. Every time I get on here with you guys, the dogs always act up, and I don't know why. It just, jeez. So I apologize.
Ping Dolly says, "Oh, they're on." I thought DA was. I was going to, but I thought they were going on earlier than us.
Yes.
So I didn't end up getting to join because I wasn't sure what time they were going live. I schedule our shows in advance, and I didn't know what time they were going live. I thought they were going live earlier than us. I was going to join them for a while, but I'd already had our show set up and announced and didn't know. So here we are. But I've got it up, and I'm popping into the chat once in a while over there. Steve Patton says, "Wave when you pass by on 44." Will do, man. Northwood says, "I haven't heard any Anthony's dogs drinking in the background tonight." Did we freeze up?
I don't think so.
Oh God, I was panicking there for a minute. It was like dead quiet. You were looking down and not moving. I'm like, oh crap! I just lost internet.
So I was rolling through that through the chat trying to. It's easier for me to read it down here than it is on there because I'll miss something up there and I can see it down here. So
okay, well I'm going to jump into the next one. This is another one from Michigan, from Washtenaw County, Washtenau, Washtenaw. Mid-September 2005, July 20th. From mid-September 2005, July 20th, 2015, and February 21st, 2017, I've had 3 different encounters with 3 different creatures. I know what I saw. When I was younger, I saw what looked like a wolf or a big German shepherd on its hind legs running through a very thick patch of woods. It only happened for a second, but I remember the long muzzle and pointed ears distinctly. The second encounter was more exciting. It was late at night after a small barbecue party at my uncle's farm miles north of Ann Arbor. I was coming out of the barn to get some more food when I heard sticks breaking in the tree line to my right. My first impression was that it was one of the dogs that got outside, so I went to go see if that was the case. I walked toward the sound and remember hearing the creature flinch because the movement stopped as I approached. I called out for the golden retriever and peered into the trees. The barn had spotlights facing the house, and the white paint job and with the white paint job on it, they created a glow that allowed me to see better. About 7 feet off the ground, a long muzzle poked through the trees, followed by the full figure of this creature. It was only about 20 feet away from me, so I got the full picture. It was tall and lean, but very muscular. It had a brown... Oh, I scrolled and lost it. It had a distinct brown pelt on its body with blackish fur on its shoulders. It had huge paws for feet, but its hands looked like they had 5 fingers, so they resembled long human hands except for the fur and claws on them. Its head was the scariest. This thing had a huge set of canines. It looked like it was snarling, but I believe it was trying to smile. I couldn't make out exactly what its eye color was because of how dark it was, but they pierced into my soul. As the creature came into full view, I remember saying out loud to myself, "Werewolf." I backed up slowly, and the creature stood there like a proud man standing over a deer he had hunted. It watched me for about 30 seconds, but it felt like 30 minutes. That's when my father, uncle, cousin, and grandfather all came out of the barn. When I tell you this thing ran, I mean it ran. It turned around, dropped to all fours, and leaped into the forest, making only a slight noise. I told my cousin about it, but he didn't believe me. I knew my father wouldn't believe me because he doesn't believe in anything. 4 days ago in my own backyard, the same type of creature knocked on my window. My curtains were drawn to give me a view of the woods. I live in the middle of a patch of woods near a fire road. I wasn't asleep yet and couldn't describe what was wrong, but I felt uneasy. I was trying to sleep when I heard a slight scrape at the house wall below my window. My window is 8 feet off the ground. When I sat up in bed to see what was going on, I saw the head of what I can only describe as a werewolf in my window, which is only about 10 feet from my bed. I cursed, jumped up, and turned on the light and grabbed the survival machete I had in my closet. I turned to see if it was still there, and it had disappeared. The next day, I went out to see if I could find any tracks or anything that might prove what I saw, but never found a thing. For about a day, I was unsure of myself. Then I heard about the radio show and decided that I should tell someone who can get the word out about it.
Okay. It's kind of like Robbie's story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In the window. Yeah, I think we're more entertainment for them than anything. That's what I think it is.
But I think given the opportunity, they're not above, plucking the occasional apple off the tree, so to speak.
No, not one bit. Not at all.
Yeah, I'm fairly certain I probably would not be sleeping in that location too much longer if I rolled over and saw that looking at me out of the window.
Robbie,
That wouldn't be too good. What?
you're gonna hate me.
What'd you do?
This next one is really long.
Sorry, Robbie, I got dyslexia. I can't read that good, so you're gonna have to.
I got you, brother. I'm here for you, Anthony.
I'm sorry, but I was like scrolling down, copying it to send it to you in Messenger. I'm like, God dang, how long is this thing?
Is it the same one? Is it same length, or is it a little bit longer? Or should I get a cup of coffee?
You might want to get some coffee for this one, Anthony.
Coffee for this one.
Chris M says, I read the unfortunate news of 2 young teen girls that went missing last weekend in the Turkey Creek area. A monster of some kind is probably responsible, most likely the human variety, but you never know. Hang on, Robbie. Cowboys 5 Ring says, about 5 or 6 years ago, I stopped at a gas station near the Santa Cruz Mountains, and there was a sign that was handwritten, "Warning Bigfoot." This older guy looked at me and said, "It's real, son, no joke." There was a story somebody was telling me not too long ago about somebody, I believe it was in New Mexico, pulled off the road at an old abandoned gas station, and a Dogman charged him, and he barely got back to his vehicle. He just pulled over to get off the road and stretch his legs.
Damn.
Yeah. Steve, you're right. I probably would have to if I saw that on my. He said I had to sleep with brown sheets if I saw that out my window. I'm going to.
Chris M says, any encounters you've heard in that area? Okay, where's Turkey Creek at? Remind me, Chris. I'm not 100% sure off the top of my head where that's at.
That does sound familiar, Turkey Creek. Well, I know we got a
Werewolf
Turkey Creek.
674, so if I see a werewolf in the window, it's bad for neighbors.
Yeah.
Oh, goodness.
Lorraine Booth says, yeah, I'm going to have gun compartments all over the house instead of a gun safe.
Yeah. Yeah, we got a Turkey Creek here in Florida.
I think there's one here in Missouri, too. Every once in a while you hear about a Turkey Creek.
Yeah.
I'm just curious where Turkey Creek is at.
I've heard of that, but I can't place it right off the top of my head.
They have a Turkey Creek management area. I know that. So, yeah.
Well, Chris M., if you get a chance, let me know where that Turkey Creek's area is at, and I can try to check and see if there's any encounters in that area. But we're going to go ahead and jump on the next one because give Robbie plenty of time to jump on it because this is a long one. You're welcome, brother.
Thank you.
I don't time I don't time those like that. That just happened.
Yeah.
Missouri. I'm sorry. She said Missouri. I didn't know that.
There are quite a few accounts near Branson. In fact, my sighting, my Joe Bald video that I posted earlier in the chat is not far from Branson. It's in Kimberling City.
Yeah.
So there are Dogman stories out of that area, as well as quite a few Bigfoot sightings. In fact, there was just one a couple months back, daylight sighting not far from there, down near it's one of the state parks not too far from there, down toward Cassville. Big Bend State Park. Daytime crossing of a Bigfoot crossed in front of a vehicle, and they had to slam on their brakes to avoid hitting it. Crossed a 2-lane blacktop right in front of them. Yeah, Lorraine Booth says, yes, it's a daylight sighting. Yeah, it was a daylight sighting across the road right in front of a car when they had to stomp on their brakes. AJ Congman says, DA, wasn't Turkey Creek where the story of the winged Bigfoot happened? Maybe that's why it sounds familiar. But there's Turkey Creeks all over the place. I thought there was one here in Missouri, and Anthony said there's one in Florida, and Mark Napier says there's a Turkey Creek in Kentucky. It's in Pike County.
Yeah, we got one here too. It's the management area.
But anyway, sorry, Robbie. Go ahead and jump in. So that one's going to take
like, yeah, do I have to?
All right, Anthony, you got your coffee ready?
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
Okay, here we go. All right, this is from West Virginia, Hancock County, 2002. I'm a 32-year-old lady from the very northern tip of West Virginia. Most of my life has been lived in Hancock County. When I was very little, we camped in tents, walked everywhere, hiked at parks, all outside goodness. In my teens, we started going to the state parks to ride horses. I've been in Tomlinson Run, Beaver Creek State Park, Salt Fork, Raccoon Creek, Vista Park. I think that was the name. We had a friend who was constantly inviting us to ride on people's land. She had received people's land she had received permission from. I'm well acquainted with the local wildlife, and I've seen all the major players, including coy dogs and bears, and can identify most sounds in the forest. I love watching nature documentaries. I was looking to become a vet, so I studied a lot on animals. Drawing and painting them got me very acquainted with animal anatomy. Was I ever into cryptozoology? Yes, I was dino crazy. I was a dino crazy little girl. My one babysitter had Reader's Digest mysteries and of the unexplained. The thought of a plesiosaur in Scotland or an apatosaurus in the Congo was just mind blowing. Later in life, I started looking at it like folklore. It was interesting to read all the accounts and learn the theories behind what people were seeing, but I believed in them. As much as folklorists believe in dragons and trolls, or as much as they believed in dragons and trolls, I didn't have any interest in Bigfoot, and I'd never heard of a Dogman. I never had interest in looking, nor did I have thoughts that ever crossed my mind about it. Didn't seem like I needed to go looking for it. They found me. We moved to the farm when I was about 10. Mom's dream was to have horses, and she was finally able to live it. The farmhouse was haunted mainly by the former residents of the house. Dang, she's got Bigfoot, Dogman, and ghosts already.
Dang.
I never felt threatened by them though. It's a little unnerving to have two men talking, moving the couch you're sitting on. Yeah, I'd say so. Or should I say, it sounded like it. No one was home, no media was on, and yet I was hearing two men talking about how they were going to move the couch and where the sound of the furniture being dragged right from under me. The land itself had its share of strangeness. Most of the things were benign, though. We just shrugged it off and carried on. I honestly hated our woods. Anywhere else, I'd freely hike, but even in the yard, sometimes I felt watched. Heck, sometimes I thought something was staring in our windows. Now that I think of it, we did have things slam into our trailer. I think the horse had gotten loose, but when I'd gone outside to investigate, I'd find nothing. I'd chalk it up to a deer or something like that. I use my horses' breeds for their names rather than think up names for them. Anyone who knows me knew my horses' names. I was 18 to 19 in this encounter. By this time, we gave up on cows. I hate them. And I just had horses and chickens. Someone knocked on the door at 2 a.m. I'd only been asleep for 2 hours, but years of conditioning had my heart pumping and my mind clearing. Someone knocking that early meant trouble. It usually meant horses or livestock had gotten out. I wasn't disappointed. Our neighbor said the horses were in his yard. My mind wasn't totally awake, so I didn't think to ask which yard they were in. My stepfather came out and asked me what was up, and I told him where my horses were. So deal with it. Mom was working. That was nothing new. This lot of horses had 3 expert escape artists. I had the routine down. It was pretty dark out, but I have some moonlight to help. The security light only went so far. Then, of course, it shut off after so long. When it was cloudy, you literally had to watch that you didn't walk off into a ravine. It was so pitch black out there. I was naturally in a foul mood, cursing my horses and wondering if some drunk had gone through the fence again. It happened a lot, and as I got closer to the brown barn, I realized a horse was flipping out. It was running back and forth, squealing and carrying on. I went in and grabbed the halters and leads, and I paused for a moment to see if any of the other horses had replied to the horse I heard squeal. That would give me an idea where the other horses might be. There was no reply, which was odd. I was thinking, crap, they're on the other side of the hill. It was the only reason in my mind they wouldn't be replying. Let's just say when I followed our cut trails to the other side, it took us an hour to traverse through the woods and lead them back. And even with 2 guys on a 4-wheeler and my mom, that was a freaky trek. Oh, that was a freaky trek. I thought she was calling her mom a freaky trek. I couldn't figure out what that was. Like, okay. I felt like I was being watched and followed. Maybe it was paranoia. So the land is set up like this. The brown barn was connected to the small pasture, about half an acre long, which then connects to a 7-acre pasture. Pretty much in the center of the outside edge of the large pasture was an old white barn that we turned into a run-in. I decided to tackle the horse still in the fence so I could bring her down to the small pasture. There's a lot of horsing terms here that I'm not familiar with. I don't know, is she really tackling a horse, or is that just a term? I don't know anything about horses, so I don't know.
Tack is like bit, bridle, saddle blanket, saddle.
Okay, I thought she was going out there being a Lawrence Taylor with the horse.
No. Where you in a barn where you store the saddle and everything is called the tack room.
You learn something new every day.
Yeah.
Pat Murphy says, I'm going to miss you and your cohort Saturday. We're not going to be on Saturday. I've got Cardinals tickets, so sorry, I won't be on Saturday. I might try to do a makeup one on Sunday night. If keep your fingers crossed. I will post if I can do it. But
sorry, I got bingo that night. I can't make it.
No problem.
You know.
I'm free if you can do it.
No, I'm joking. I don't have bingo. Can you see me playing bingo?
I figured you was a bingo guy.
Yeah, I can see you with your little clutch purse and your little poodle playing bingo with the other old ladies.
No.
B4.
John plays bingo. John plays bingo, but not me.
Sorry, I got.
Yeah, Pink Dahlia says, yeah, she's referring to the gear.
Okay, so she's not playing football with a horse. Good.
No, she's not tackling it. She's putting all the gear on.
Oh, the
kind of like a person that person that does horseshoes is not called a blacksmith; it's a farrier.
That I did know. Only because
it's kind of a dying art. I mean, a good farrier. Yeah. If you've got a good farrier, they're worth their weight in gold. Keep going, Robbie.
Yeah, keep going.
I decided to tackle the horse still in the fence so I could bring him down to the small pasture to keep her from escaping too. Maybe the others would follow. I had to walk clear to the other side of the pasture to get to the panicking horse. It was my mother's Psycho Appaloosa mare. I tried to catch her and nearly got trampled a few times while I was trying. She was frothing at the mouth, and her eyes her eye whites were really showing. I was alarmed. As I said Psycho, I noticed my other 6 were across the road. They were standing in a tiny little fenced-in area under a spotlight. They were standing motionless and not managed to herd them into such a tiny fenced-in area with that tiny door. 3 of those horses were over 16 hands tall. One was a draft horse cross. The doorway was actually, and one was a draft horse cross. The doorway was actually small enough that he touched both sides going through. My thoroughbred mare took me 2 hours to corral the last time she got out. Much of my frustration, she was an awesome jumper. So a stranger rounding them up and putting them in a tiny yard was mind-blowing. I've had horses since I was 9, and I'm 32 now. I've had ponies and horses. I've had Appaloosas, Arabians, draft horses, quarter horses, walking horses, saddlebreds, thoroughbreds, Mustangs, foals, geldings, mares, geldings again, and still thought they were
Worth
stallions.
mentioning to him.
Oh, and geldings that still thought they were stallions.
Ah, okay.
There we go. See, I jumped the gun a little bit. My bad. I had a lot of horses from all walks of life. I will tell you, they consistently do not like to be crammed in tiny, tight spaces, especially not in a group. I had 2 severely abused horses that I was rehabbing, a thoroughbred that actually had PTSD, and I'm assuming she means a racing horse, but she says a racking horse, unless that's something that I...
No, I probably meant racing.
Yep. Well, so we're going to say a racing horse that actually took me 3 years to touch without some sort of bad reaction. They did not like being in stalls, and all were mares. Mares are extremely moody, and 2 of mine were particularly vicious to those they didn't like. My Walker mare only liked 3 other horses. She could have been kicking the crap out of the others there. Mine also didn't like to be under lights. When they escaped, they avoided them like the plague, and not eating grass that was over ankle deep. That was unheard of. There was a silent and dead still. My neighbor came out and told me that they were like that when he found them. He asked me if I needed help, but I said no. My thoroughbred and racing horse mares did not like men. I told him I'd take them out one at a time, and I took the halter and led and threw the rest outside the gate. I put all 6 came out as a freaking unit. They were literally chest to butt crammed together. My gelding and my Welsh mare had their chest pushing against me as I walked back to the brown barn. Normally they did not do this, and I wouldn't usually allow such bad behavior. We were on the main road, which I did not like. The speed limit is only 35, but people go over 60. So I tried to lead them through the large pasture gate. They wouldn't even go on that side of the road. I was a little unnerved by their behavior, so I led them down to the brown barn, and they went in. They were skittish, though, picking at the hay that I threw out for them, walking around restlessly, sticking to the barn like glue, and eyeing the upper pasture. I rationalized it by thinking it's the appy flipping out that's unnerving the rest of them. And why hadn't she come down yet? She had to have seen us all walk down. I rushed to the gate between the little and big pastures. Out of habit, I didn't want the herd to go back out into the big pasture. I didn't have to worry. I apologize. This is not punctuated really good.
Just as I sent it to you just as I got it.
Yeah, I know. It's the punctuations are what were throwing me off.
Yeah, I need to go through and start cleaning these up before we put them on. But hey, Uncle John's on. Hey, Uncle John.
What's up, Uncle John? They didn't follow me like they usually did. The gate was wide open, but the appy was still running around and squealing back and forth in the same area. I started to go get her. Now the neighbor's security lights didn't really light up my pasture. The road was higher than my pasture, so it was cast in shadows. I could make out her shape and some detail though. She took off at a panic gallop, swerved sideways, and jumped the stream. When she landed, she nearly landed on her face. She caught herself though and took off at a dead gallop again. I ducked I ducked behind a stump or she would have hit me and I would have been dead. I went back to the chain on the gate. I decided to forego looking her over until I got the halters and leads. She was too hot at the moment. I decided to walk on the road instead of through the pasture again. The pasture was uneven, unlit, and full of springs. Sometime during the during this, clouds had taken over the sky, so there was no moonlight to see by. The spot on the spot on the road where I was at was paved and pretty well lit, though my neighbor was paranoid as I mentioned. I had almost gotten to the white barn when I got this sudden urge to stop and look at a very specific spot in the punctuation again at a spot in the pasture. I would like to say it was instinct that told me to look, but usually I'd scan the woods first to see what was there watching me. That's usually where the watchers are. Instead, I just flicked my flashlight right on a certain spot. It was extremely close to where my mare was flipping out. I saw red eye shine. My first thought was, why in the world would a deer be there with all this chaos going on? I was feeling a sense of extreme dread, and I don't know why. Besides it being where my horse was going nuts, told me something else wasn't right. I then realized where the eyes were relative to the walnut trees and my racing barrels. See, the road is above the pasture, and the walnut trees were right at the same elevation as the road. The pasture itself is sloped to deal with runoff from the road. The barrel it was next to on the low end of the incline, the were white, so I could see them in the dim light from my flashlight. And the one it was next to. This thing was too freaking big to be a deer. I was frozen standing there watching. It had just I just had this feeling it was evil and that I had to keep track of those eyes. It was watching me. It slowly blinked a few times as I looked over the woods above the pasture. I know you ask your guests if they ever feel there was there are other ones out there. Well, let me tell you, it crossed my mind. With a sinking stomach, I flashed I flashed my flashlights over the woods to see if I would catch eye shine. I didn't see any though, so I went right back to the other eyes. They were still there. I flicked back and forth, making sure nothing was sneaking up on me. I don't know how long I stood there watching, frozen. Someone could have come around the bend and hit me with their car. I was so focused. I was so focused. Finally, it started to move, and it glanced at me sideways a few times, only one eye. I think went into the it went into the stand of trees around the creek. I heard nothing, and that wasn't the surprising thing though. The horses were still restless and making noises. I stood there a long time after looking for the eye shine and was wondering if it could have been a bear. I don't think so. The eyes were consistent in height until it disappeared. Bears are clumsy on their back legs. On this uneven incline, I have no doubt a bear would have dropped down to the ground to go on all fours. Even the rear up and drop down behavior bears do when they are trying to see something wouldn't work. We had one cross our pasture before, and he made a lot of noise going through the woods. The horses settled down quicker with a bear. I was almost to my neighbors at this point. I considered leaving the couple $100 of tack at this house. Halters and leads aren't cheap. I had no doubt if I left them there, they'd be gone by the morning. My mother would be pissed, so I darted over there, grabbed them up, and ran like a bat out of hell. I know. I should have left the tack. I also know you're not supposed to run, but I couldn't even conceive what I had just seen. I got into the barn, threw the tack down, and hung with the horses. I wasn't going to go back to that pitch black driveway on foot. I figured with the horses I'd have a warning. I finished with the horses, I would have a warning in the barn, and I had plenty of sharp things in the barn. I didn't go back up until dawn. I was frozen stiff by that time. I've had years to think about this or to think this over. It unnerves the crap out of me. How long was this thing there? Was that what was keeping the Appy mare from coming back down? Was it right there in the shadows while I was trying to catch her, or was it in the unlit barn? I walked through to get the road.
I'm sorry, dude.
This punctuation, it's like 3 words. There should be a whole sentence and there's a period in between.
I didn't really realize I was sending you 14 chapters.
I apologize. I keep stopping because it don't make sense the way it's written. So I'm trying to make sense of it before I say it, which is not working. But irregardless, we shall keep on. So I'm back up, but I will say that the Appy mare was out running for a good while. The ground was severely torn up and turned into a muddy mess. It was high noon when I went down there to check, and the ground had melted. I'll bet it was her that woke up the neighbor. It took them about a week to fully settle. I don't know if whatever it was is still in the area, or if they were traumatized. It wasn't too long after that my mother filed for divorce. My ex-stepfather got the farm, and I moved in with her in the city. Even with all the weird crap going on there were non-bipedal things going on too. I miss it terribly. Maybe it's more accurate to say I miss the farm life rather than the actual place. I'd love to get back onto a farm again, but I'd probably hesitate to move back there. I've never told anyone about the eye shine event. I didn't see the actual creature, and really, how do you convey the unnatural horror inducing feeling? You saw eye shine, whoop-de-doo. My mother would have given me the benefit of the doubt, but my mother often told other family members things. They made my life enough of a living hell. I don't want to go give them any more ammo.
You need a stiff drink after that one, Rob?
No, I took a nap and came right back, man.
Goodness gracious.
Good God.
I was going to do
it's
this.
a good story. I mean,
When I clicked on it, I was going to do this.
And the
you're going through a sentence, and there's a period where it's not supposed to be, and it throws you completely off. You're like, what?
Yeah.
It was long, and they put in a lot of details that probably really didn't need to be there. I mean, there were a lot of horse details that weren't really necessary to the story, but I get it. They were just trying to to give the full picture. But even just seeing eye shine can be pretty terrifying. You don't have to see the creature to feel its presence, and the behavior of the horses tells me there was something there. It was definitely a big predator, and that's not normal. And some horses can be pretty skittish. I've had horses that were skittish, but then there are others that will. I've seen horses kick a mountain lion. Some horses can be just absolutely fierce.
Well, in the Patterson Gimlin video, that's why that's the first few minutes of it so shaky, because the horse was rearing up while he was trying to film on it.
Yeah, that's what he was saying.
I think Roger Patterson was talking, or no, Gimlin was the one that died later, right? Patterson died first, right?
Yeah, Patterson died first. I think Gimlin's still around.
He's still around. He's still alive.
Yeah, he was talking about that on an interview I saw not long ago, and he was talking about that, and that's why the first few minutes of it's so shaky, is because the horses were rearing up and they were trying to get off the horse so they could steady up the camera.
Yeah, he's what? He's in his late 80s, early 90s now.
He's got to be.
He's getting pretty much up there.
Yeah,
I would like to get a chance to actually go to a conference where he's at and meet him, before the inevitable. I mean, he is pretty old, but I hate to hear of his passing. But he's getting up there in age. But as far as I know, he's still kicking and doing shows. Lene says, I've had horses all but maybe 10 years of my life. At DA and Richie, there are good features in all breeds. You need to find one that matches your spirit. I totally agree.
I had a horse too. It was a nice stake.
Yeah. Comment. Let me see. Where did I miss it? Oh yeah, I read that. I haven't had a chance to watch that yet, but David Pilates always has some pretty good stuff. I will try to check that out here later tonight.
What is it? Oh, the one about Skinwalker Ranch.
Dogman caught on film.
Really? He has it on his YouTube
You guys
channel?
listened to David Pilates 2 days ago. He was doing a review of Skinwalker Ranch. He was talking about he got to see pictures of a rancher near there had a Dogman walking around.
And obviously they're not going to post it. They're just going to
probably didn't post it. He probably talked about seeing the pictures.
Of course. So, yeah, no one wants to post videos or pictures. I don't get that. But anyway.
Well, everybody wants to keep their evidence close. If I find anything, I'm happy to share it. That's just how I am. I think this might be the last one I've got. It's kind of a long one. This one's from Ohio, Trumbull County. This happened in December, the day after Christmas, 12/26/2016. I saw something on Monday night that still has me totally shaken to my very core. I've always loved nature. I love the woods. I love hiking and camping and fishing. I'm really into mycology, so I'm out looking for mushrooms and various types of fungus whenever I get a chance. The weather was absolutely beautiful on Monday for this time of year, so towards evening time, I decided to round up some of my walleye gear and head down to an old train trestle crossing on the Mahanong River in Niles, Ohio. I had parked my car about 1.5 miles from the trestle so I could walk the tracks and hit a few other spots along the river on my way down there. By the time I reached the trestle, it was pretty much dark. I was wearing a headlamp at the time, so I had a dependable light source. At this location, there's a lake directly across the river, which the two are connected by a small overhead dam. I was there for 15 minutes when all of a sudden this overwhelming feeling of dread came over me. I switched my headlamp on to turn around and start to back up the riverbank, and right behind a big sycamore tree, I saw what looked to be a very large animal, kind of kneeling beside it / behind it. As I locked my eyes on it, I completely froze. I knew I was definitely seeing something there, but my mind couldn't process it. What I was looking at didn't make any freaking sense. The thing that I kept saying to myself was animals aren't supposed to look like that. Right as I'm thinking this, it's as if the thing read my mind and stood up and made itself perfectly visible in the most obvious way. It almost had this vibe like, yeah, now you see me, you know I'm real, I definitely exist. What are you going to do about it? And as soon as it happened, it kind of hunched over and made its way into the brush. I was out of there like a flash. As soon as my feet hit the tracks, I ran the entire way back to my car without stopping. By the time I reached my car, I couldn't breathe. Both my legs were locked up and I was vomiting, and somewhere in between the encounter and running away, I had pissed myself. It's very early Friday morning now, and I think I've only slept for 6 or 7 hours altogether. So I guess this account was submitted just within days of it happening. I've been constantly searching YouTube and all kinds of stuff, listening to eyewitness accounts, and it sounds like these things are encountered quite often. I've heard of the Dogman before, but I never really took it seriously. Before the night of this encounter, I would always picture a Dogman to look like some skittish coyote-looking creature. Man, I love the woods and I love nature. The woods for me has always been a safe haven I can venture into to escape stress. Stress at work, bills, relationship problems. I could always take a nice long hike, go fishing or foraging, and come home feeling 75% better. Now I feel like I was threatened and kicked out of my second home. The only thing I can keep thinking is these things aren't supposed to exist. I feel like a terrified little kid who just came face to face with the dreaded monster in the closet. You know, the monster your parents told you no way assured you wasn't real and couldn't possibly hurt you. People need to be made aware of these things. They are real, and they are as real as it gets, and they are dangerous. Thinking back to what this thing looked like and how it was built, these things are perfectly adapted killing machines. The way the arms and legs looked, it looked like it was perfectly adapted to walk on all fours as well as on two legs. It was so quiet and fluid with its movements also. It's not like in the movies where the monster comes charging out of the woods, growling and snarling. These things are masters of camouflage, and they utilize the darkness perfectly. I didn't notice a smell from it, probably because the wind was on my back at the time. But it sure smelled me. Its nose was up in the air the whole time of our encounter, just sniffing away. This experience has torn a huge hole in me. Every time I eat, I get nauseous. I can't sleep for more than 20 minutes at a time, and every time I close my eyes, that thing is all I can see. I'm trying not to dwell in the fear. I'm trying to accept what I saw and what happened, but it's hard. I'm really glad I found this group and found new things on YouTube, so I know I'm not alone.
Very, very cool.
Yeah, I'm with Werewolf on this one. That one sounds familiar.
Yeah. Why does DA always get the short ones and you get the long ones? That's what I like to know.
Work it out that way.
That's it. That's right. He's in charge. That's what I forgot.
He's the boss.
That's right.
Just look at the ball. I'm just going right down the list. But that one's very credible to me. I mean, the way they describe it. Again, that's another case where somebody admitted they wet themselves. Yeah, I can totally get that. And if they ran all the way back to their vehicle without stopping, I can see how that could be an effect.
We always seem to get the trending videos. One week it's coffee, this week it's bodily fluids.
Yeah, this week it's body fluids.
Everybody's shitting and pissing themselves for some reason. I don't know.
Last time they were drinking coffee.
That's it.
We'll have coffee again next time, or maybe it'll be whiskey.
Yeah.
That was the last one I had prepared for this week.
Though. I can't put my finger on that where I've heard, but it seems like I have heard that one somewhere.
It sounded. The more I read it, the more familiar it sounded. I think that one might have been a show.
The line in it where it said these things are real and people need to know about these things. That is where
that rang.
I've heard this before.
Well, what's his name? What Josh? Doesn't he read it? That was in this from his show, or he has a couple he sent you?
Maybe, yeah, I think so. That sounds familiar.
That's what he was saying last week. I'm just looking at the comments on here.
Yeah, I was looking to see if anybody had any comments on that one. Tombstone says Code Brown indeed. Dahlia says too many details ring true. I agree. It sounds like a genuine story to me. They were freaking terrified, and they wrote that into the NADP just days after it happened. NADP's been collecting these accounts for quite a while, and that one was back in 2016. So that report was sent in within days of it happening, and they were still having trouble sleeping. That's definitely somebody that had their paradigm shook.
Yep.
Pink Dolly says she can't hear you very well, Anthony.
Yeah, my mic and camera suck. DA knows that. I have to get up real close and talk loud. So when I get more money, I'll get another camera set up with the mic in it. It just blows. Sorry.
Well, folks, we are at the 2.5 hours mark. We try to keep things as close to 2 hours as we can. Watch the channel. There won't be a show on Saturday, but there might possibly be a surprise one on Sunday if things go as planned. So I'll keep my fingers crossed. I love doing these encounter shows. I want to start branching out from just Dogman and Bigfoot encounters. So any of you guys out there that are listening, if you guys want to send in, even if it's a paranormal or a UFO story you want to send us, if something has happened to you and you would like us to share it on the air, I would love to do other stories, ghost stories, Wendigo stories, Dogman stories, Bigfoot stories, any story that you have that's something odd that's happened to you. If you want to share it, we are happy to share it. Also, I've got a couple of really good guests that I'm looking to have on. Martin Groves, I want to try to get on. Joe, we talked about earlier, his a couple of really good encounter stories I found at the Dogman conference, but I don't want to tell their stories. I want them to come on and tell it firsthand because they're very powerful in person. And when I talked to these gentlemen, you could see the visceral reaction as they were reliving the story. You don't fake goose flesh. You don't fake trembles in your hands when you're talking. Those are tells. That tells you when somebody's reliving something versus just regurgitating something. So I definitely think these stories are very, very legit, and you guys are going to be amazed by these stories. They are very strong, very powerful stories.
And we got Scott coming on, which is going to be a great interview. This is a gentleman that's having a lot of problems, him and his wife on his property with Bigfoot that are attacking his house and ripping it apart.
We'll try to get him on hopefully next Saturday.
Yeah.
Anthony, if you can set that up, that would be awesome. Have a night we get Josh Nanochio back on.
Yeah, I want to get I guess somebody, he needs help, he said. So I'm trying to think who to get on the show with us that can help him get rid of these things because he wants them gone.
Yeah, I don't blame him.
He's at his wit's ends. I mean, he has some health problems now, and he can't do it anymore. He can't deal with it anymore, he said. So I'd like to get somebody to go out there and help him. Either I'll go with them or whatever, but
I'll bet you $5 a CS can tossed into the bottom of that old house will clear him out.
Yeah, I mean,
Yep.
He's having nothing but them. Oh yeah, they broke his back window, man. They threw a rock through it.
Jesus, these things are good and impressive.
Yeah.
I definitely want to get him on to talk about that. But again, I want to get Josh Nanochio back on. We're going to get Anthony's buddy on to talk about his encounter. There's a couple of guys, again, like I said, I met at the Dogman Festival that I want to have back on the show. And Ron Yelton says, how about Jesus? Yeah, we're going to get him back on the show as well. He's kind of doing some things right now that I don't really want to interrupt, but I will reach out to him and see about getting him back on soon as well. Anthony, Robbie, thank you guys so much for jumping in tonight. Really appreciate you guys.
Anytime.
Yep.
Again, it's 2:30 hour, 2.5 hours. Looks like they're still going on over there at the Bettina.
Really?
Yeah, they're still on. I may jump in with them for a few minutes. If you guys want to hop over to Bettina Moss's channel, I may jump in with them just for a few minutes to talk. I will post the link to that.
Thanks, Tombstone. That was nice, man.
It's been awesome, brother. Thank you so much.
And Patty too.
I'm putting the link in there right now. I'm gonna jump over there to their channel and pop in and say hey. We will probably see you guys on Sunday night. Watch the channel here and watch Facebook because I'll announce it if we're going to be able to get it pulled off. And thanks again to everybody that gave us super chats tonight. You guys are awesome. I appreciate it so much. Thank you. A big shout out to my moderators and the people over at the Patreon community. If you haven't had a chance to check out the Patreons over at patreon.com/DARobertsauthor. Check out the stuff that's going on over there. I'm going to be sharing some short stories over there very soon. And I hope you guys will check that out. And again, thank you guys. Thanks everybody who has been here tonight. I appreciate you guys sticking with us, reading these crazy stories. But there's some freaking great stories, though. And we will see you guys on the next show, be that Sunday or next Wednesday. But we will definitely see you guys again in the near future. Thank you, guys, and good night, everybody.
Good night.
Thank you for joining us. Catch us again Wednesdays and Saturdays on DAX Machina. A special thanks to all our channel members and Patreon supporters. Please make sure to like, share, and subscribe.